scriptures.
Yeah.
When you want to jump in the books.
Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright man, Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, the Father Dash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who taught us the truth, and salutations unto the Archim that continue to keep the word in truth and in sincerity, man. And we're the GMS London Forecasters Camp, we're just here another week to prophesy the downfall of this place, man. And pretty much, in line with scripture, measuring the times, man, because 2022 is the year of the turn up, and we're seeing it, man. We're seeing the turn up, like things are just popping off, man. So
4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Yahushua, and shall deceive many.
Yeah, because you've got, we went over this the other day, man. You've got a lot of, like I said, 2022, the year of the turn up. You've got a lot going on in the truth, like amongst Israel, and then worldwide, you've got a lot going on prophetically, man. Within the world of Israel, you've got a lot of false teachers, man. A lot of, because when it says, many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, it's saying, I am Hamashiach, meaning that I'm of the anointed, man. Okay? Now you got that's twofold. You got people that will actually come and say that they're Yahweh Shai, the scriptures warns of that, man. If they say he's over there, in the east or over here, in the west, go not, man. Okay? So you're gonna have people that actually proclaim to be the Lord, man. Their doctrine's wrong. Okay? Hold that. Also, I'm gonna go back to that. Get Isaiah 61, and you can read from the top. And then the I warned us of these people, man. Go on, huh?
Right. Verse 3, so start with 3, yeah? Isaiah 61, verse 3, right?
Actually, no, verse 1. Verse 1.
And the spirit of Yahweh thy power is upon me, because the Lord have appointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prisons to them that are bound.
That's Israelites, man, in that captive mind state, right? But as it says, the spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me. Now Yahweh Shai fulfilled that scripture because that's a prophecy speaking of the Lord, right? And that was fulfilled when he went in the synagogue on the Sabbath day, the Shabbat, and it was his turn to read out of the scroll of the prophets, man. Because in the Sabbath service, you would read from the Torah, which is one of the first 5 books. You would read from the prophets, you would sing a couple of psalms, and then you would have the breakdown of it, and that was pretty much the Sabbath service in the synagogue. So Yahweh started his turn, and he read from the prophet, the scroll of the prophet Isaiah, man, and he went to that part, man. Okay, and that's why he said, today in your hearing. And how do we know that they're not anointed to preach? Because they're teaching the wrong doctrine, man. So that's the point on that. Let's go back to Matthew 24. I'm just bring the back to you.
Yeah. Matthew 24, and I'll continue to read from 5. And many shall come in my name, saying, I am Yahushua Mashiach, and ye shall deceive many, and ye shall hear of wars, rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
See, there we go. We're going to read that verse again, man.
Yeah. 6 says, and ye shall hear of wars, rumors of wars.
That's what we're living right now, man. Wars and rumors of wars, man. You got Putin, and he's going headstrong, Okay, basically saying if they ain't gonna have us involved, when you break it down to the lowest common denominators, if we ain't gonna regulate this shit, we gonna terminate this shit. That's what Putin's saying, man. So he's up there, it started out in the Bosnova air spaces. Now you got him out there dropping bombs. I believe the other day I was watching the news, it was kind of late, it was the Sky News. And we do more research, because check it, this whole thing has been boiling up since fucking 2014, man. But the Western world didn't see it profitable to basically report on it, man. They just thought, yeah, Russia, Ukraine, little, back and forth here and there. There's nothing important, man. But they would have you believe that all of a sudden in 2022 they've just decided to go to war. It ain't like that, man. This has been boiling and brewing up from way back when, the end of 2013. Man. Actually, little skirmishes between the two.
Yep.
So when we watch the news, we do more research and we take it with a pinch of salt, man. Because Sky News, BBC News, Fox News, CNN, ITV, all your stations, man. They're controlled by the Goyim, man. They're controlled by Amalek, man. So they gotta put out what they want to put out to make you believe their agendas, man. And when you watch these different news stations, right, they, like even in the UK, they'll say stuff but subtly different. Like BBC News will say they'll say the same thing, but they'll push it for a different group. They know that our Labour may watch ideology on BBC News, a little bit same type of thing, but a little bit more watered down on ITV. Channel 4 comes straight. I like Channel 4 news, man, because Channel 4 kind of comes straight more than all of them, man. But the point is this: Russia and Ukraine thing has been boiling up since 2014. But now we're seeing the wars and the rumors of wars, where it's come to the point of, listen, man, you go follow along, otherwise we go clout your ass, man, and show you what's popping. And that's what Putin's doing, man.
In the 90s, Russia made a deal with Ukraine, and for them to say, well, scale down your nuclear weapons, scale down it. Yeah. So this really, I mean, Putin is a man of war.
Yeah.
Karate, outdoors, and so he's a schemer, he's a planner. So that was part of the scheme, but they reneged on it. They said, all right, then, we will never attack you. So now they reneged on it. So this, you could say, well, when wars take place, they plan from really far back, man. As you say, man.
This thing goes back, we're looking at, 14, we're now in 2016. That's it's been brewing up. So this ain't nothing new, man. Like I said, the Western world are just going to start commentating on it now because it's beneficial for them to commentate on it. And things are actually popping up, but this goes way back, man. But it says wars and what?
Yeah, wars, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Yeah, man, so as we keep saying,
20 years.
Count. Yeah. Count. That's right, man. Yeah, so popping off, okay, but guess what? The end is not yet, man, because a lot more has to happen, man. Prophetically, man. Ain't no full-blown World War III, alright, until the chip comes, man. What about Jacob's trouble, man? And if we don't say this to get on brothers or whatever the case may be, but it's why are you looking up? Why are you looking in the skies for, man? There's still stuff still have to happen on the earth, man. Yahushua ain't coming back until the chip comes, man. We're gonna get into that. That's a major prophecy, man. I've been watching Black Mirror, I watched some of it, and I kind of fell off it a couple of years ago, but I'm getting back into it, man. And Black Mirror is showing you, the agendas of this white man. He's showing you what he wants to do, man. The AI, getting forked up the simulation of things, the chip, there's this one nigga. Oh, just eat them, man. They just there looking around, like, yeah, validate me. I'm one of you.
Unless he's one of the tears, baby.
He might be a tear. He looks fun, anyway. But hey, that's it, man. So they're showing you their agendas, man.
Yeah. With that, they want Kiev, but things go back to positions and to get in certain positions. So they want Kiev, and really he wants to control the oil when it really comes down to certain positions where you have control. Because now they're putting these sanctions on. Britain's putting the sanctions, and they're known for their oil, their gas, fuel, use and export. So these sanctions, they're saying they could have a major, massive effect on us.
Yeah, well, that's the spirit, because when you check it, energy prices are rising already, man. People's bills used to come quarterly and things of that nature. Now you got people's bills coming on a weekly basis, man. And it's some sky high rocketing shit. Because I'm into economics and finance and all of that, right? I watched Bloomberg and that. They kind of told you on BBC, and then when you really watch the analysis programs like Today Asia, Today Europe, and Bloomberg and all of that, right? You know, what they're showing you is that inflation in the UK has really gone up by 7%. That's the projections, but the projections have already come into effect. Yeah. You know, you're like, oh yeah, in the near future it's going to go up. They're talking about the near future, but we're already living it, man. We're already living the increase in fuel prices, man. Yeah. In energy bills, man. That's why people's like, man, turn the light off, man. You know, if you don't need the gas on, don't put the gas on. Because it's gone up, man. The cost of living has also increased. Okay? You know, but guess what? When you check the currency, the wages are still the same, but the cost of living has increased, man. So guess what? Your money ain't going as far. Your money never went far. You know, your money never went far in England. But your money is not going as far as it used to. Because normal things, you know, amenities that you need, alright, the cost of living itself has gone up, man. You know, they're taxing people left, right, and center. Okay, so it's a shit show. But as the brother was saying, it all goes back to that oil, that gas. Okay, you know those.
Compost fertilizer.
Yeah.
Russia.
See, you know.
Have a big part.
Okay, and guess what? England needs that, man. Because Europe is known as the bottomless pit, man. Okay, specifically the UK, nothing really grows here, man. You know, nothing really grows here. So it's like we're you know, household management, right? The UK, we import more than we export. Like if your economy is an exporter, you're gonna do well. Your currency's gonna do well. Okay, your jobs are gonna be good in your country. Everyone's gonna wanna have international relations with you because you've got something to offer to the World Economic Forum, man. Like you've got something to offer to the world economy. Well, what does England have, man? England has Boeing engines. All right, that's the one thing England's good for. Boeing engines, your Bentley car engines, your airplane engines. It's all manufactured over here in England. Okay, I believe the head of Boeing is up there in Rugby, a couple of stops after Leicester, just before Nottingham. I used to pass them all the time, man. Okay, I used to live up in the Midlands. All right, so for a short period of time. But Boeing, that's all England offers. On a worldwide scale, England offers airplane engines. Other than that, we don't really offer much, man. It's the bottomless pit. Nothing to offer, man. There's nothing in the ground. All right, there's nothing, man. English people, of all Edomites, right? The so-called British, all right, and I say so-called because British is really a Hebrew word, man. Barash Ayaf, Brit, or covenant, and Ash meaning man, Ayash, man. So covenant, what? They're the house of tea, man. They're talented, man. You know, they're intellectual, they're smart, but the English, they ain't got much to offer, man.
And it's sturdy when they make their German cars.
German cars,
BMW, Golf.
Yeah, them engines are strong.
Engines,
yeah. You know,
durable.
The handling of the car's perfect, man. You know. Okay, so
you saying England ain't got.
All right. We're talking about Russia. We're talking about Ukraine. We're talking about their hand in oil. We're talking about their hand in gas. We're talking about their hand in compost. All right. England can't grow jack shit, man. All right. You're lucky if they grow a couple of potatoes and carrots at the allotment. All right. England don't mass produce jack shit. Okay. So pretty much it's in a vulnerable position, man. So guess what? It's coming to a place called your front door. That's what's going to happen, because let's read Matthew 24 again. It doesn't say there's going to be a rumor of a war. It says rumors of wars. It's a plural thing, man. So Russia and Ukraine is the first of many rumors, man. Okay? And you know how geopolitics works, man. If we're allies with you, when you go to war, we've got to back you. Because if we don't back you, and the next country backs you, once we've handled with that first enemy, we're coming to back you because you snaked us. So England by default is already involved, man. All right? But as we said, the economy itself presents the facts. The maths don't lie. A math means truth. Numbers don't lie, man. Okay? Is that England is in a very vulnerable position, man. Okay? And that's just the truth. You know? Oh, man.
So you shall, 6 again, Matthew 24 verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass.
Yeah, so we're not troubled. You know, if you was a...
Yes, and for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
The end is not yet, man. You know, so we know that for a little while longer, the scripture says we're going to have to endure, man. For a little while longer, man, because the end is not yet, man. There's going to be more skirmishes. And guess what? According to the prophecies, all these countries going to come together. They're going to have their little back and forths, right? They're going to have their little quarrels and squirms and all of that. But at the end of the day, all these countries are going to come together and fight the beast, man. They're going to fight the whore, which is America, man. Go on, that.
This is Isaiah 19 and 2 says, and I will set Egypt against Egypt, the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. Because when I was on the way down here, I was watching the protest, right? I put it up on my channel, and you can see the signs, you know, sanctions, sanctions on Russia, sanctions, some are for it and some are against it. And I was in the bus and I'm usually quiet, but the spirit got into me and I said, look at this white on white crime.
It's spirit hidden, man.
I think he looked like could have been hand. I think he got a little bit, he started to shake. He's like uncomfortable. And the Edomite was over there. I said, I just came out with it, man. Look at these criminals, white on white crime.
White on white crime.
So
they don't say black on black crime, when that's white on white crime.
And I was feeling good. About it. I've been feeling good actually. This couple of days recently. Yeah. Probably putting things up on the chat, and you know, I was going to go and buy some wine, but I'm going to bide my time. Maybe I'll sit after camp. They go have some wine. I'm going to come to camp. You know, kind of groggy minded. But I've been feeling good because let me read it again. In 2 it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. Pray, Vitaly Klitschko, the two Klitschko brothers, the heavyweight boxers. And Vitaly is now governor of Kiev, and he's saying, he's giving all the civilians, take up arms, man. And I'm watching this, and I'm watching a boxing fight,
because they use that mentality, man. You see, to be a leader, you have to be a warrior, man.
Yeah.
All right. Even he's a low level, low talented dude. Yeah. But even Boris gets into sports, man. But when he was the mayor, he was fucking running around rugby and
nationalists for the sake of their country.
For the sake of the country.
Anything.
But they know, right? He ain't no level. Like let's say put him up under the Klitschko's, man. A jab will knock his ass out, man. You know, just give him Boris will be, Humpty Dumpty full of the wall type of shit, man. But these leaders know that to be an actual leader, right? You've got to be...
People getting behind that guy, man. Vitaly. People are getting behind him because they know he was a fierce warrior. It's all about national... People that don't like boxing still support him because of the country. The nationalism.
Yeah. You know, they might not even be into the sport, but it's like, he's one of us, you know. Yeah. But the point is, these leaders, right, they all are pretty much martial artists, man.
Yeah, man.
Study the art of war, man. Yeah. You know, most kings were warriors, man.
That's right.
Right? You know, when you have that soft, you know, when you watch, what's it, man? Gladiator, right? And he had, the dad,
Crowe,
Russell Crowe, the dad wanted, Finn to take over, but he knew his son was effeminate, man. You know? So he never put him up next to be king on his deathbed, man. And the son got kind of, in his feelings about that. But the father knew, this is my son, he ain't cut out for no rulership. Because he's not a warrior, man. The dude was soft. You know, and then when he went out there to fight, what's his name? Russell Crowe. What was his name in the film?
I never actually saw the film.
Nah, there's like the Prince, man. He put on something stupid like 30 days of games, man. And I remember the apostle saying that whenever you look in history, right, that's what happened, man. So in that film, he put on something dumb like 30 days of games, and then the Senate was, the councilmen were like, are you sure you want to do this, man? You know? And then he went out there and fought the gladiator, but before they went into the arena, he stabbed him, man, in the back. He stabbed him in the side, so he would be at a disadvantage, and his ass basically still was going to lose, man. You know, because he knew that he ain't no warrior, man. You know, so all leaders that aren't really war-minded end up being a dickhead nation. They get the pips, and then they run their own society to the ground, man.
Yeah.
You know, because that's why the scriptures speak about the first deadly wound which was healed, man. Speaking of ancient Rome, you know, but then it was to come again, which we're living in right now, man. You know, go, man.
And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother and every one against his neighbor city.
So that's these nations, man.
Yeah.
These nations that links up with what chapter we in?
It links up with Matthew
24.
24.
Yeah. What chapter?
This is 2 of Isaiah 19.
Isaiah 19 verse 2. So that Isaiah 19 and 2 links up with Matthew 24, man. You know, kingdom against kingdom, man. So the prophecies corroborate, man. The prophecies back each other up, man. You know, all saying the same thing, coming at it in a different angle, or the same thing in a different wording. But it's all the same damn thing, man. Alright? The nations coming against the nations, man. Alright, go on, man.
And everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom.
Yeah.
And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to their idols. Because I was saying, Lord, when we come under, we was under pressure when we went into transatlantic slave trade. We were crying out. I was thinking about this while I was watching the news. You know, we knew the name, and we got a God. And I was thinking, man, what the fuck do they got? They're fucked.
Yeah, they ain't got nothing, man. They got. Well, you got the Roman. You got the Russian Orthodox Church. You know, they got their version, and don't start on the Black Madonna and all of that, man. And the icons in Russia, because they know the Lord is a black man. All right, they know that. They've actually got fucking images, right, of a black Messiah, man, or a so-called black Messiah. Okay, so they know, but they've got their own Russian Orthodox. All right, and that's what they're gonna start calling them, man. You know, with Jesus Christos and all that bullshit, man. You know, up in their monasteries and their congregations. All right, but that's what they're gonna call them. But they go. That's why we're gonna go back to Matthew 24. That's why after it says all these are the beginning of sorrow, it says then shall they persecute you, because when they see that their religions don't work, they're gonna say, it's them. Let's read it.
You want it again? Isaiah 19, or you want this one out?
You're back in 24.
Yeah,
Keep reading on that. Because that's the next step, brothers. After they realize they're fucked, they're gonna come to us, man. You know, go on, huh?
Yeah, man. And this is the backup to what we just read, man, in Isaiah 19. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places.
And they don't even, hub put me on the app, right? They don't even report. As you're saying, when you watch these news stations, just know they're either lying, they're watering it down, or they're missing out information. They don't tell you the whole damn thing, man. Alright? Do you know how many earthquakes? There's an app you can download on your phone, and it will show you live, like earthquake here, earthquake there. There's about 7 earthquakes a day, man.
Yeah, you won't put me onto that, man.
You know? Yeah, I'm gonna, put you on and then you speak to Hub and, because there's fucking earthquakes, man. But they're not gonna report on that. You know? They ain't reporting on that shit, man. You know? There's all kind of tsunamis, all kind of storm units, Franklin. Yeah, because it's fucking over here. But what about the rest of the world, man? You got storms all over the goddamn place, man. You got earthquakes all over the place. They just ain't reporting on it. But the time is coming, just like they didn't want to report on Russia and Ukraine from 2014. Now they're forced to, because it's kind of in people's faces. The storms are going to be in people's faces, man. And they're going to are active, man. They're pumping it up, man. Year of the turn up, man. Year of the turn up. The angels themselves are turning up, man. To the point where you can't even fucking you can't keep up, but you can't deny it.
Yeah.
You know. All right. So there's something. Read that last verse again. You read. Oh, so like your pestilences.
Yeah.
Oh, forget that. All right. You got the sea, the big sea. Okay. All of that's how you know some fucked up shit. Yeah. Everything was, you gotta get the jab. Yeah, get it. Yeah, get it. Wear the mask. All of a sudden, no social distancing. You ain't gotta have the jab anymore. Alright? You don't have to wear the mask. Everything's done. No more isolation. You know, how the fuck, man, people are so dumb. How can you have something so bad, so severe, so fucking severe, and then all of a sudden, oh no, it's fine. Yeah, no more COVID. It's all good. It don't work like that, man. Disease doesn't work like that. So that shows you that, man. But I'll say it in code. I know people that work up in that setting, because I used to be in that setting, and they told me, you gotta get it, otherwise you're gonna lose your job. So I said, you know, the scriptures say, a wise man looketh forth to his going and avoid evil, roughly paraphrasing. So I said to myself, before you even give me the ultimatum, I'm gonna get another job and fuck off out of this organization. And that's exactly what I did. Now guess what? I still speak to people that work up in the hospital. You know what they said to me? You got directors apologizing to staff. Oh, we're sorry, we forced you to take it because it actually turns out you don't need it anymore. So they were forcing people. Now you got directors saying, oh yeah, we're sorry that we forced you and we put you under pressure. It turns out it's not as vital as it. Yeah, you don't need it anymore. So what was the agenda then? What was the agenda? Huh? What was the fucking agenda? You're forcing people, get it. You got 2 weeks. You got people that have been working in the NHS for 20 fucking years plus, man. Alright? And you don't even respect them. Oh, first of all, it was, yeah, clap for the NHS, Thursday night. Clap for the NHS. Everybody come out in the yard at 7 o'clock. Clap for the NHS, man. You know, that was on summertime. Okay? Now, it went from clapping for the fucking NHS to giving hard-working staff 2 weeks to pack their bags because they're not getting the fucking yab. Now all of a sudden, oh, we don't need it anymore. They're putting something in that shit, man. And guess what, man? It's wiping people out, man. Okay, it's wiping people out, man.
Because you should have kept your mask on, and they're going to say we made another mistake now because we said you should wear your mask.
Exactly.
And we sorry about more sorries coming. But then after it was too late again.
Yeah. Sorry when it's all too late, man. Sorry don't mean shit when it's too late. The Apostle Tohar's Odyssey page, the thing has fucking hydrocells in it, man. The thing has sex and it can mutate itself. So there's no extract. Once that juice is in you, there's no extraction of it, man. You can't get it out your body. But all of a sudden now it's sorry. It turns out you didn't actually need it. What kind of bullshit's that, man? That don't even make fucking sense. Sorry. Yeah, you done stabbed the people up, and now the best you got to offer is fucking sorry. Get out of here, man. That's the devil, man. Go on, man.
And all these things are the beginning of sorrow.
So there's gonna be more. Bill Gates, you know, he's putting it out there. There's more. People getting twisted up over COVID. There's more, man. You had the Omicron, you know, that came out. That didn't last too long, but it's because they're brewing some other shit up. Well, they've already got it, but they're just brewing it up in society, brewing it up in the news. All of a sudden, there's going to be some other shit, man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's already something, an airborne disease over in Australia.
Oh, well, I even know about that.
I was keeping saying I'm going to do a video about it. I'm doing videos on all these subjects, and I said I'm going to get to that. An airborne disease, they're saying it's even dangerous if you come out your house, stay in your house.
See?
So they've already got them, what they call that thing, curfew. They're already doing the curfew.
Lockdown shit, yeah, see? Curfew. That's right.
Alright. Going to come over here now, thinking everybody saying that this airborne disease, if you just breathe it in outside, you might drop dead. Yeah. They let them drop it dead.
And you know, if that feeds into the fucking metaverse, man. You know, you can't step outside. Yeah, everybody's got to get the metaverse, got to get the AI, go to work. You're at your house here, or you're going to work virtually. It all links up. You can't even step out your fucking yard now, man. You go to work virtually, you're sitting in the couch with the headset on, and you're like, yeah, I'm walking, I'm going to work. That's what you're doing, bro. That's links into the chip, man.
Matthew 24 and 8.
Yeah.
All these are the beginnings of sorrow.
Not the end, not the middle, the beginning. Alright? Just like Genesis, in the beginning. Yeah, all these are the beginning of sorrows, man. So if you think that this is it, this ain't it, man. It's getting worse out here, man. And guess what? We're happy about it. I'm kind of pumped up, man. I'm happy about that shit. Yeah, let it get worse, man. Let shit go downhill every day by the second, man. God damn it, man, because that's the prophecies, man.
Yeah.
Okay, it has to happen. You know, if you're sitting there like, yeah, I don't know if I'm ready, Lord. Well, then you're not on the Lord's side, man. Because the Lord's coming back to take power, man. To take rulership, man. To rule the earth. So if you're not on the Lord's side with this place going down, then you're on the side of fucking Satan, man. Alright, we want this place to fuck, man. Because we know that Yahweh's coming back, man. Go on, man.
I've got a precept, right?
Yeah.
I know it's standing in Matthew 24.
Yeah.
Matthew 5. Why unto you that you die day of the Lord, to what end is it you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light.
Oh, you got people out here desiring the day of the Lord, but they don't know what it is, man. You know, Christians, oh, Jesus, come back and save us. You know, all that bullshit, man. They don't even know what the day of the Lord entails, man. Because to them, man, today the day of the Lord is just some regular day where some white dude comes out the sky with his arms like that, you know, naked little babies with him, you know, giving people lollipops and rubs on their head and pat on the back of the shoulder, man. Nah, man, the day of the Lord is darkness and not light, man.
Yeah, man, I saw that live and direct on the news where a tank, one of the Russian tanks,
Run over the car. And the guy somehow stayed alive, man.
But you see, the woman was filming it, went, whoa! Right, and this is United, really nice. And if a man is free from a lion and a bear or went unto a house and leaned on his hand on the walls and then surfing it. That's what's happening now.
So this dude they said it was an elderly person, right?
Yeah.
Driving a car. And I saw that video this morning actually. That's because I didn't see it last night. I saw it today, this morning. And the tank just went,
yeah.
And he ran over the car, yeah. Now, the car should have fucking crushed, man.
Yeah.
It should have, but it didn't. But that's the fulfillment of the scripture you just quoted. Because guess what? He might think, oh, I escaped. He might go home and just get a bullet in his head then. You know? You know, it's fucked, man.
It's it for them, man. You see, because they're fleeing, they're trying to flee over the airport. They blew up the airport. Russia blew up the Ukrainian airport. Right? So plans for the airport ain't happening. The train lines was all crowded.
Yeah.
Right? People, you see, there's gangs there.
Carl was telling me they got
The
gyms there.
buses shot in it, and people might have thought, they're going to try and kill her. So they was trying to, because you know what? They want the men to stay. The men are there to. They're going to be future wives, some brothers, you know. So they're going to be, they're only letting the women out in Ukraine. You know, the Edomites, they
And by the way, fuck Ukrainians, man. We don't give a fuck about it.
Exactly.
Fuck you. We ain't on that side of pray. God, I pray for Ukraine and methodology for you. No, fuck you guys, man.
When we was crying out to Yehovah, I was
What the
trying
hell?
There's a bit of a like reaching down and speaking to back anyway, but let's stay on this So they have to drink down the drakes, man.
Yeah.
And they're ain't gonna hear them, and we is gonna be there. I'm gonna get my bottle of wine. This week I'm probably gonna have a couple of bottles of wine. Anytime I see God be darkness and not light, even very dark and not bright, and no brightness in it.
So we're entering to the day of the Lord, man. The day of the Lord is when the Lord starts visiting this place. Which is exactly what he's doing right now. You know, the Lord is doing right now, visiting this place, man. You know, and it's a dark visitation, man. Alright, horrific shit, man. As the apostles called it many years ago, the nastiness of the scriptures, man. Alright, women getting raped, babies getting killed, cars getting run over, train stations getting bombed. Okay, you know, you just in the yard and you're getting clotted. Like that's the day of the Lord, man. You know, because that's how it was for us, man. We was on the west coast and then one day you saw ships coming, man. You know, and next thing you know, your ass is on the other side of the world getting whipped on the field, man. You know, so it's the same thing for you. You know, Ukrainians and you know, the same thing. I saw a video on Facebook, yeah. She was in the house videoing from the window and an airplane came and dropped 2 bombs, man. And they had a baby in the back, yeah! And they started running. I started laughing, man.
All the curses I've been putting up ain't been going in vain, man. It's all about the Most High's time.
But it's as well as we do that, it's prophecy. That's the main point. It is prophecy, man.
Yeah. I got a piece of that.
Yeah.
Jeremiah 25 and 7 said, and the Lord said, have sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them, but ye have not hearkened.
Yeah, well, we've been out here, man. We started with our apostles and our elders, you know, and even their teachers, you know, great men of the Lord, Rabbi Bivens, King Marshall, High Priest Ariel, High Priest Icon, Apostle Elder Tahar, Apostle Gubar, Apostle Rachar, Apostle Aram Love, the Bishop Elders are down, us brothers. That's the pure chain. We've been out here, man. Even these other groups, man. Even these other, we disagree on the doctrine and stuff.
Yeah.
But these other groups, IUIC been out there, ISUPK been out there, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck GOCC, that's just Christianity, man. But shit, they've been out there, man. All these other splinter groups been out there, man.
You got slack, we got to give our elders their props, man.
And their
You know,
respect,
as I say, man, give credit where it's due. And even I listen to other people that are studying their right. You know, you got these people, whistleblowers. They come out and they talk about Russia, but the elders have been on this thing, the Russian thing, for what, over 35 years, man. The invasion, the war between Russia and the US. So you got to give where it's due, man. Now there's grace all over the brothers them now. They got the wisdom now to show for it.
It is what it is, man. That shows you long. That shows you
props, man. Try with the sheep come out and talking about, now you can't, as you say, you can't deny what the prophet has been saying. A man well written, he does promotion, he does what do you call it, philanthropist, entrepreneur.
Yeah, listen.
And he's, you know what the prophet is saying, man. You got to be prophets. Give props to the prophets.
Yeah. Since you said that, hold Deuteronomy 18 at it for years, man. You know. Oh, see, look. Is that the thing you're talking about?
Most likely, it is a roadblock, man. A roadblock. Block off the whole road. The most I only let me, because I had to get to camp. The most I said, you can let me get through. And I looked back and I said, oh, God.
See, we ain't go through the camera or anything, but on the main road over that side, you got protests, man. Yeah, we're gonna get it. And it's to do with the whole Russia and Ukraine situation. You gotta have uprisings, you know, people rebelling against the police and shit, man.
Yep. Police, armed forces today, I filmed them too. They're armed police.
You gotta put that video up, bro. You see?
Yeah, on the way home, I might see if we get something again. But boy, this is the year of the turn up.
This is it, man. We're here, bro. We're here live and they're fucking protesting, bro. Over that shit, man.
And I've been having a lot of these visions, what you want to call them, about being around places like, Parliament Square, Trafalgar Square, like official built up places in the city. And I'm in a certain position, either I'm being I'm doing something now, and I can't really explain it, but I'm just being around them areas at the time of moving, sort of like moving, what do you say, what do they call them things, pyramids. Yeah. Being a pyramid, you know, moving around. Yeah, here it is.
Oh, you see there, is he?
Carry on talking, let me see what this is.
So it is what it is, man. You're not blocking off the...
That's what we got caught up in on the way here.
Yeah, Canadian flag up in there. I see the Russian, Ukrainian flag. You know?
It's a roadblock.
You got, like I said, we're going to switch the main cameras for that, but you got people walking in the road, you got police bikes, you got armed feds, the people, you know, with the microphone shit. So placards, signs, cards, you know, so this is it, man. You're the turn up, man. Hey man, Barakatay how Bashim Yal Shai. Barakatay how Bashim Yal Shai. Barakatay how Bashim Yal Shai. Bashim Kakudash. So we are, because it's turning up, man.
Would it be live and direct?
They fucking locked off the whole road, man. You know, go with that.
This was Deuteronomy 18 and 18, yeah?
Yep.
And I will rise them up, a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee.
Yeah, that's speaking of Yahushua. Yeah.
And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him.
Yeah, that's the Lord Yahushua.
And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him.
Yeah.
The prophet shall die.
Yeah, exactly, man. So we pull that out because as you know, brother Ariel was saying, man, you got fucking you got men that talk and things don't come to pass. Well, as you were talking about the apostles, they've been talking about this Russia thing in America from way back, man, from the start, man. So and it's come to pass. So we know that they're true men of the Lord, man. You know, and that's validated in the scriptures, man. You know, none of you other groups really get into prophecy, man. You IUIC doing videos on fucking marrying and shit. That bullshit, man. Fuck all that, man. It's prophetic times, man. We at Great Millstone get into prophecy, man. That's the spirit of the Lord, man. So anyways, jump back to your rosary.
Yeah, I was in Jeremiah 25.
Oh yeah, you go.
Yeah. And I just read jump down. I'll read that one again. It's the Corinth start with each other. And the Lord hath sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them. But you have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear to hear.
Yeah, so now you're in the shit. It's like, well, we should listen, but it's too late.
People coming against the Hebrew Israelites. How can you really come against? Why don't you just, even if you disagree, why don't you what's the word when they say let it play out, man?
Yeah.
Now it's played out.
They're not gonna do that because they're not spiritual. People was like, yeah, well, you said it and it's not happening. Yeah, fuck you. They're not spiritual, man. They don't understand that things have to play out, man. But then when it does play out, it's like, you should listen. See, they're getting a bit louder.
They're gonna because this is I was thinking this too. This is all they can aspire to. This is their kingdom.
Yeah.
When they see a black man, right, and they would love me to say, that's what they want. They know we're revolution by heart. So they want to get stuck in all the Tottenham and all that and get going against each other. Knocking each other out of pure blood. What a right crime, man. Fucking, what they call them, fucking hooligans, mate. I was rather around with that east. You're the real hooligans, ain't ya? Fighting for fucking football. Couldn't answer, shut his ass up.
They're holding up traffic now. They can't even pass the traffic. Fuck this place. Go.
So let me jump down. This is Jeremiah 25. Right, yeah. 8 now. Wherefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, because ye have not heard my words, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, saith the Lord of Nebuchadnezzar. This is what happened to us. But it's twofold too. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servants, and I will bring them against this land and against the inhabitants, utterly destroy them and make them an astonishment. Right, now we're going to be laughing at you, motherfucker, now. Because in Lamentation 2 and 15, we becoming a shame and a byword, a poem and a byword, and an astonishment. That time is that's what Yahushua say now. It's twofold anyway. Utterly destroy them and make them an astonishment and hissing and perpetual desolation. When it builds up, like as you say, this is just the beginning. Matthew 24. It's just the beginning.
Let's go back to that. Yeah.
Right. Because the rabbit hole goes deep, man. Matthew 24 and what do you want? I finished the 8, yeah? All these are the beginnings of sorrows.
Yeah. Okay.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations.
Oh, fuck. So, guess what? Hold Jeremiah 30. After this is Jacob's trouble, man. We gonna be on the run, brothers, man. After all this little fucking shit that's going on, they go, the black Hebrew Israelites. We gonna be on the run, man. Yeah. Hey, man, I believe 2022 might just be it, man. Might just be it, because it says, and then they shall persecute you, man. So we're gonna be on the move. They're gonna do away with the internet. They're gonna do away with like all freedoms, alright? They're gonna implement that fucking shit. And then when shit ain't still panning out how they want it to, about they wanna fulfill their agendas, their new let's read that, and then we're gonna get Revelation 13 where it says they shall deliver you up and kill you. So that's the next step. That's actually the next step. Brothers been on the run, man. You know? Go on, man.
Yeah, Jeremiah 30 and 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
Yeah, so that's what it is, man. Jacob's trouble, man. They're being on the run. Alright, they gonna put on our faces on the news. Alright.
Keep having funny visions about me moving around. And I'm always in like city built up areas like this.
He might just be
efficient buildings.
He might just be up there in central London, bro. You know. That might be your luck, man.
But I wasn't sad though. I remember I wasn't sad. I was empowered. I just knew that I was alright. Even though I knew I was, there was no, what's the word, man? I knew I was on the run, but I knew I felt good about it.
Yeah.
Funny, that's all I can say about that vision, man.
So you know, that time's coming, man. At last, it's even the time of Jacob's trouble, man. We shall be saved out of it, man. It's why we're always pushing, you know, always pushing, like, you know, the Lord, you know, praying to the Lord to give us a higher portion of the Spirit, and things of that nature, man, because that's what's up next, man. Hold that, go Revelation 13, let's start around verse 14, brother, sure. Because it's going to tell you they're actually going to start killing people, man. That's when people wake the fuck up out here. When Esau, zero tolerance mode, because they got armed police, what do you think they're doing with those guns? What do you think is coming out of it? Water fight? They spray some water? No, man, they're going to push your wig back, man. They're going to put holes in your head if you don't comply, man. Okay?
What's 16? Revelation chapter 13.
No, start from around verse 14 and we'll read into it. Because talking about it, we get the point where it says, they shall kill you, man. You know?
Revelation chapter 13 and 14 says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do.
The technologies.
He's saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wounds by a sword and did live.
Yeah, so that's talking about the Roman Empire, which, you know, was destroyed, but it has come back again. You know, Greco-Roman Empire, which we're living in. Alright, so that wound, you know, is healed and it's come back again. Alright, and the image is the system, man. Alright, the infrastructural systematics, the algorithm that makes society run. The rules, the regulations, the implementations put in place is the image of the beast, man. Ain't no fucking white woman, white man, Jesus, image of Jesus Christ, all that bullshit. Alright, the image of the beast is the system put in place to make this economy, all the systems run. The way things go, the way the rules and regulations all compilate and make the image of the beast. Alright, so when it says he gave power to it, meaning that the system was made and it works. We're living in this, even though it's wicked, the system's working because his rules and regulations are working. The infrastructure works in unrighteousness and wickedness, man. So that's the image of the beast. Go on, man.
And 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
There you go, and that's what we're about to get into. That's the next station of the microchip, man. RFID technologies. If you agree, fuck you. Simple as that, man. It's clear as day that the mark of the beast is the implantable RFID microchip. Over here in Europe, they call it the NFC, near field communication. All the same damn thing. That is the mark of the beast. And the finalization of the system and the power and the life given to the beast is all finalized in that fucking chip. Right? So if you don't take that thing, you're basically working against the system. And when you work against the system, what are they going to do? They're going to kill you, man. That's the next step. Read that verse again, brother.
15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
What do you mean by worship? It means go along and get along with the system, man. Like when what was it? The statue was built, man, in Babylon, and the scripture says all kinds of music were played, and the people had to come out and worship and bow down to the image.
Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar, but then Daniel and they say the Hebrew boys, they didn't bow down because they knew, nah, man, we serve only Yahweh, man, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So they stood up, man. They were just like, fuck this, man. You got people. You got Daniel and them, man's like, fuck it, man. And they weren't timid about it. Like, no, they were, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I ain't fucking bound to no goddamn image, man. You know, and their mentality was, well, look, if the Lord has me thrown into the fire and I burn and die, then fuck it, man. I'm gonna burn and die. But then Yahweh Shai appeared in the fire, man. Okay, and they lived, they walked up and down in the fire talking with the Lord. And that's the faith we have, man. And we pray that God keeps the spirit on us, man. That when they say what? He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and whoever didn't worship, meaning whoever didn't get along, man. What's keeping the peace right now? Oh, the jobs, yeah. Save the protect the NHS, save lives. Get the job, go and get your first one. Then a couple weeks, get your second one. Then go and get your booster. And you got people running up into them fucking. It's pretty much a slaughterhouse. You know, yeah, I'm here for my job. You know, I'm here for my job. That's worshipping the beast, man. That's worshipping the fucking beast. Because you're going along to get along, man. Oh, they said it, yeah, we're gonna do it. But then you had the man in the law, like, fuck that shit, man. He ain't putting no, no juicing in me, man.
A lot of those, what do you call them, pop up and get popped, right?
Yeah.
We found out to be scams as well.
Yeah.
People making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Just talking about it.
Yeah.
And back to what you're saying now, it's there's levels because you got levels of tests.
Yep.
Levels of tests. So those that did, if you pass the first test and you got another test you got to overcome.
Yeah.
But all those that have really weak faith, man, or just weak character, point blank period, weak people, also are getting rid of all that.
Yeah, fucking them up, man.
Cheapo.
Yeah.
Get the fuck rid of
You're taking them up. That's what it is.
We don't like them either because people with no backbone are very, very dangerous. I don't like them. Being that I spend a lot of time with people around people like that. Sure. I've got to realize how dangerous they fucking are. And you stick out, you're going to end up sticking out anyway because you're a man with backbone. You're going to end up speaking against it.
That's right, man. That's right. So that's all spoken of in scripture, that hour of temptation is when that chip becomes mandatory, man. But what does it say? Let's read the bit where it says they shall be killed. Sure. You know? Verse 15 or so.
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And the power gave life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should speak, both the cause that are many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. That's the one.
There you go, man. Should be killed. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to take the thing, they're going to start fucking terminating. Yeah. They got the gallows coming back. They're going to have the firing line, lining people up, shooting them. You know, that's what's going to happen, man. You know, that's what's going to fucking happen out here, man.
For those who are, what's the word, man, on the fence. Now's the time to make it. The most I could make put in a position where you have to make your stand anyway. And make your stand. That means you say no. Just like when they tell you, say no to drugs.
Say no to drugs, just say no.
Because that's the test, man. A lot of people ain't got no, and the most I don't like people like that, man. And we don't like people like that, man. We don't know how to fucking have a backbone. We don't know how to say no when it, even a matter of when it be upon us to the very end. We're gonna have to go through certain tests and trials, which is sharpening us up and make us stronger too anyway. Because we passed we passed them one of them little low level tests there. Don't take them lightly. Still, we passed a lot of them. You too. In your circle, as you say, you was in with that little circle. You passed that. You're flying colours, and that's all right. You might say that's low, but the most side, no, that's a tick. That's a tick there. In the heavens, that's a tick in the box, man. In your vapor. Yeah, man.
Let's get Psalms 26. We can start from the top. But it's right on what you're talking about.
Psalm 26, yeah.
This is life and death.
Yeah, because I was in the Christian church and a brother, he put it to my attention. I'm going to say his name, Brother Caleb. He said, you escaped COVID, you escaped Alcatraz. You was in the Christian church, and an elder said it too. And I'm going to say the name, Elder Prophet Kahar said, if a man could be in that Christian church and get out of there, that's a fucking heavy. He got out of something. You got to commend that guy. Which is the most, everything was of the most high anyway.
And most of us brothers that came into the truth, we came out of the church, man.
Yeah.
You know, being Pentecostal, Catholic, Seventh-day Adventist, Baptist.
I was Jehovah's
Witness.
Over 20 fucking years, over 25 years, around 25 years. That was a heavy demon, and most men who be in there for 25, not speaking myself up, but most men who going somewhere like that for over around 25 years, the Most High had to get, as the Apostle said, he said, the Most High must have been with you, man. And as you say, may he continue to be with you to the end.
That's right.
Psalms 26, and yeah, brothers, we we need to sometimes, I mean, what's the word, man? We don't want to bring ourselves up, but sometimes it's good to when that Christian song, count your blessings. The Most High delivered us in them situations, man.
Yeah, them churches, man. Fuck them churches.
And other things too that we maybe don't take account of them, man. But the Most High took account of them. Yeah. As I say, he's written them down in the heavens, man. So you wanted Psalms 26, yeah?
Yeah, from the top.
Yeah. Oh, me, O Lord, it says Psalm of David, right? Me, O Lord, for I have walked in mine integrity.
In your heart, should be outside. The Lord's going to put you through. You can't get the camp and everything and all that. Right. When the test actually happens, it's not a camp setting, man. You know, the test could be the text on your phone. Oh, your appointment is made for the job.
Yeah. You know? I ain't spoke about that. Something like that happens to that.
Yeah, that's a test, man. You know, a weak ass brother might get, when they send me a text, you know my number, you know my I got to go and get it.
Yeah.
You know, I had fucking at the workplace I used to work at, man. I was fuck that bitch, man. She's a demon. Some Somalian bitch, man. Alright. When you walk into the hospital, they got people on iPads here. Literally, their whole job is to sign people up to get the thing. So I worked there, innit? I used to work there. So one day I'm walking through the entrance to the hospital, the guys, and she goes, "Hey, remember staff?" And I'm like, yeah, you know. She's like, "Oh, what department do you work?" I'm like, "I work in theatres." "Oh, so you do surgery?" "Yeah." "Oh, have you no, I ain't got the thing." "Oh, do you want to get it today? You can sign up, you got spaces, you can get it today." I said, "No, what your staff, just get it today. Look, it's easy. Let me just take your name. Let me take your name, let me take your badge ID, you can get your job today." I said, "No, leave me alone." And I walked off, man. And that's a test, bro. And then I was with, remember I told you that I told you brothers, man, that fucking demon started working with that faggot. So I was with him because we worked together, right? So I was walking through the entrance with him. And you know, yeah, he stopped both of us. You know, he's all signed up. He signed up and I didn't sign up, man. So he's the job. I didn't get the job, man. But that's a test, man. But you could just, peer pressure. I'm with somebody. Yeah. And she's pressuring me. Yeah, let me just type my name in. And then your ass gets stamped up and dilated, man. Yeah. You see?
I've got some testimonies, but I'm just going to drop one. When I'm in my late, past my middle age, I don't have to speak my name so much. I'm past my middle age. And I remember even with just the flu thing, I was going through it, right? And I learned to say no around 2008. I learned to say no. I did have it when I was a little bit younger, when I didn't know what the fuck was like. I didn't wake up. And I've seen people dead from that shit. And members of my family. So I knew, even from then, talking back around 2000s, you know, around that area, I knew to say no about it. I knew there was killing people. And I was dying in my own little world without no fucking certificate to say I'm a physician, you know. And people who didn't listen, none of them, they're dead now. There's a guy now, I've been looking for him. I used to know him from the world. Young guy, well, a bit younger, about around my age. And I ain't seen him now. I mean, we went through a little back and forward, but you know, and I ain't seen him. I think he could be dead, man. Yeah. This thing, this sea thing, I think he could be dead. He could have took his ass out. I don't care, though. That was a mercy killing.
Why you come to your mouth, bro? Come to your fucking mouth, man. You fucking devil. You spitting out here and walking straight past us, man. What are you looking at, bro? I ain't no like that. Over there, decide to walk straight past us.
Hey, let me say something, bro.
Fucking devils. What the hell is that all about, bro?
When that first thing came out with the V, I done a video when I was doing my movement talk. I was saying I agree with that thing. People like the either, people like the either, they should have a mask on. They should have a mask on.
Fucking dirty, man. That's a fucking ball bite, man. The guy was right there, he goes, I see his feet coming out of his mouth. There's a path right there. There's an actual designated path in between the grass right there. Yeah. But he decides to walk straight past us. I realise that a lot of these fucking motorbikes, man, they want to get you sick. They want to get you sick. Talk about fucking Wuhan, they want to get you sick, man. They be purposely coughing when they walk straight past you, man. And they come very close to you, man. I ain't playing that shit, man.
Let me say, when I used to
what's that all about, man? Go on, man.
When I used to go to dinner when I was in the Christian church, they say, come around for dinner with us. We come around and some brothers out for dinner. The East, I noticed, just pure observation. their youths would come around and let me say, they you guys
playing that shit.
and they would all put their hand up in the fucking food and shit.
That's some fucked up shit, man.
Because it's in their nature to spread germs. Remember that? Remember when they went over to Gad and Reuben? It's in their nature to they're very generous. I observed this. I've said it a couple of times in my video. It's in their nature. They're very generous when it comes to germs. They're tight with money and everything else.
They're generous.
That's why they love them. Fucking Edomite women love to hug you and all that shit.
I'm not even playing that
Spread
game.
that
I'm not
germ.
playing that fucking game. Read,
They're
bro.
spreading their germs.
I'm not playing that game.
Yeah, man.
Fuck that shit.
Psalms 26. And if you're a person who picks up things, you start to you have seen it, man.
Don't do that shit, man. Fuck that.
26, right? Examine me, O Lord. Let me start again. O Lord, I have walked in my integrity. I have trusted also in the Lord, wherefore I shall not slide.
Yeah, so if you trust in the Lord, Jehovah Hashem Yahshai, you know, like the brother was saying, we all have our personal tests in life, and then we have tests that we all go through together. Whereas individually, but you know, it tests all of us, like what the juice, you know, getting the thing, you know. Raphael Hashem Yahshai, we'll take that.
And they try and come and get you in your guardy stand. You say your work circle.
Yeah.
Me, I know. I've learned, just like I say, I've seen people dead, man.
Yeah.
Just the fleeting.
Yeah.
Keep your fucking guard up, man. You know.
Do that as well, man. All right. Let's get Psalms 91, man. Let's get Psalms 91 because they fucking don't think these agents aren't slick, man.
Yeah.
They know how to target you, man. Whenever you're walking, they're walking this way, you're walking that way, yeah. They would, if it's bursting out, would, you know, move away. But they walk it past you. When they're parallel, that's when they're coughing. That's when they're sneezing.
You're working with them. Yeah, Psalms 91, yeah?
Yeah, because the demon want you to get sick and die. Or arms, I can't go camp. I can't do videos. Oh Lord, the germs, man. And when you go to the handshake, that's actually a sign of I won't kill you now, but I'll kill you later.
Yeah, I first say that from time.
That's actually a sign of we'll do a deal, but guess what? I'm coming for your ass. That's what shaking hands go back to, man. That's not our fucking culture, man. We down and we give a brotherly hug. That's it, man. All this shaking hands and all that shit. We don't do that, man. Oh, man.
Yeah,
We'll dab, alright, we'll come back, we'll do this. We'll do that, right? Or we'll hold the arm. That's what Israelites do, man. All this touching your palm of your hands. That's your personal bit, man. Like, who's touching up your hands like that, man?
And see what you just said as well about the sneezing. There's tests on the. I know a brother used to work in hygiene.
Yeah.
And I said to him, when I started to leave the church, and he used to see me, and I said, I don't do that no more.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what's up? When we were going through our job, and there was the ultraviolet light, when a man, when you see the light, shaking hand, ultraviolet light, all you see is germs. Or even a sneeze can get you from like a couple of yards away, a good couple of yards away. He said, that's why, he said, you're right what you say. I learned that from just observation, but by the hygiene standards, you ain't really supposed to be up all shaking hands with people. That's why your wife.
That's exactly, man. That's why I got fucking mad at that dude, man. A little more about it, because he's over there, a couple of yards away. No, he didn't cover his mouth with his arm. He didn't cover his mouth. He literally went, "Bleh," and I saw shit come out his mouth. And he purposely walked straight past us, man. So guess what? When the germs come out, he's walking, but the germs are still coming out. The part of him are following him, man. Trying to get brothers sick, man. Go on, read Psalms 91, because we're going to show you we're protected, man. You know? But I don't play that shit, man. I'll confront you straight away. What the fuck are you doing, man? Stop being stupid. Alright? They need more about it. Oh, what did I do? What did I do? I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. No, yes, you fucking did, and you know what the hell you're doing, man. Go on, man.
Start from one?
Brother, yes, please.
Right. Psalms 91 and 1 says, he that dwelleth in the sacred place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
There we go. The secret place of the Lord is what? Scriptures. Okay? It's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is the secret place of our Hashem Yahshai. It says, shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The shadow of the Almighty is his protection. Okay? Now, we can get sick. We get sick. You know, but the Lord has it where we may get sick, alright? You know, so personal punishment to refine our character, all that stuff, will keep us humble, but the Lord heals us. Now there's certain brothers where the Lord has gotten them sick, and they died from that sickness. That's their lot. Because what the scripture says, even though I perish, yet in my flesh I shall see the Most High. So that's that brother's lot.
They died faithfully.
If they died faithfully, they've been perfected. And guess what? They're going to be the first risen up in the chariots with the Lord. So that's their lot. But other than that, right, the protection, what happens to these people in the world don't really happen to us, man. You know, you got COVID all over the place. You know, we've all been past, we might have got the damn thing for a week or two, but the Lord takes it out of our system. Why? Because we're under the shadow of the Almighty. Because we're in the secret place, man, which is this Holy Bible, the correct breakdown thereof, the Spirit of the Lord. Alright? So let's run that again. So even though that dude, you know, you got people, why did you shout at him? Yeah. Well, look, that's just me. By the end of the day, he could come with COVID right now. He might have COVID, but then through the Spirit and power of the Lord, we don't get it, man. Or he might have a common cold. I might be breathing in his fucking germs right now. Who knows? Because the guy coughed, man, and I saw shit come out his mouth. He walked straight past us, man. Do you know what, right? When you get into hygiene, yeah, your particles goes a 10-meter radius, 360 around you, man. So his germs went that way, his germs went that way, his germs went that way, and his germs came towards us. Even more so because he kept walking right past us, man, when he really didn't need to. He's going over there to the basketball field. Guess what? There's a path that takes you around. But as the brother said, the demons got on him. Yeah, cough, sneeze, and walk straight past those guys, man. But guess what? Through the Spirit and power of Yahweh sitting on side, we're protected, man. So fuck him, man. Okay? Go on, man. And that you know, we're using him as an example for all you people, man. Fuck all of you, man. Alright? Fuck all of you. Because the men of the Lord are protected, man. And we believe that. Okay? We believe that in the Spirit and power of Yahweh sitting on side, we're protected, man. Alright? So any wiles of the devil, alright, fuck you, man. Fuck Satan. Alright? I don't play that shit, man. You know? I don't play that shit, man. Go, man.
Yeah, man. So, and I will say, Psalms 91 and 2, and I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and of my fortress and my God, in Him will I trust.
Yeah, the refuge. What's a refuge? A refuge is a place you, that's good. What's that?
Okay, Los Santos.
Yeah, can't. Get some of that going. Because guess what? A refuge is a place you go to when you're in a time of distress. Alright? You're a refugee, all that shit. Yeah, you're running to refuge, man. So guess what? What's our refuge? Our refuge is Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. Okay? And we're in a time of trouble, man. So guess what? Yeah, so guess what? Where our refuge is Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, man. You know? So we're good, man. We understand that we're in a time of trouble, man. We understand that the enemy is all around about, man. But guess what? The scripture says there'll be more that be with us than they that be with them. Because guess what? We've got the holy angels around us, man. So guess what? Even though let's give both sides of the story sick. But then guess what? The angels might be there blocking that, man. The angels could be right there blocking it, man. Nah, put a shield over these men. No germs gonna get to them, man. So fuck it, man. Even where we're at, man.
Yeah, man. I was burning this last night, and I thought, like I was saying, I was watching the news, I was burning my fellas, and I didn't need nothing else, bro. Didn't need nothing else, man. I made sure I went all on my clothes and shit. I was like, I could have had some wine, but then again, I didn't even need the wine, man. You know what I'm saying? So, right, so Psalm 91, and I read it again too. And I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust.
Oh, sorry, yeah? Oh, yeah, no, we have permission, yeah. It's public speech.
We spoke to the police loads of times,
Undercover police have
loads of times.
We're within our right, lady, to be out here.
Let's just carry on now. Psalms 91.
It's been answered, so bye-bye.
3. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snares of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
Yeah. See, Satan's trying to rile up. We've had undercovers come around here before, man. You know, we've had undercovers come around here before and ask us what we're doing, man.
Women want equal rights. We're going to give them equal rights if that's what they want.
What are we doing, man?
We're
We're out here reading from the Bible and speaking on it. Speaking and backing up with the Bible, back and forth. That's all we're doing, man. You know,
women nowadays, all they want to do is have a say.
We've
got our say, we got our opinions.
Yeah.
You're going to get an opinion in our kingdom, you're going to get my opinion.
Yeah.
Up the butty.
Yeah.
Opinion go be on. And I'm going to have a lot, and I don't like Edom up, but I will have a lot of Edom up because I know why I'm going to have it.
Yeah. She's some council person, but she's up there cleaning rubbish. Fuck out here. Crazy bitch, go on, man.
3 says, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
Yeah, that's the missiles, man. Okay, the snare of the fowler and the noisome pestilence, man. The men of the Lord, they gonna get delivered out of that, man. Scarcely, but still delivered out of it. Hey, this is heavy. You know, they gonna get delivered out of it, man.
Have you got any of that?
I have it.
Oh, yeah, got that, yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
Good stuff, man. It's one level lower than the. Now you got lower than it goes into your house. When I come back to the yard, right, you can pick up things from the yard.
Yeah.
When the yard smells nice, and that actually is an air purifier.
Yeah, you got the light on.
Not none of that aerosol shit. I don't deal with that.
No.
That's the natural one.
Yeah. This is heavy. Yeah. Let's run that again.
Surely, 3 of Psalms 91, surely he shall deliver thee. It's going on. Just put it on. It's a powerful one. Yeah, it's on. Oh, just put it on there.
Okay.
You can't really see it.
Okay.
He shall deliver thee from the feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His trust shall be thy shield and buckler.
Yeah.
His trust shall be thy shield and buckler. Yeah. Wow, you can apply this to everything. The health side of things too. Yeah, to protect us from all the pestilence that's coming around. The demons too. Let me say one time I was lying down and I'm intuitive about things, right? I held them up like that. And I was lying down and I just thought like a little, like if you imagine there's a spider in your yard. But it wasn't a spider, it was like a demon kind of spirit. I just got up, sat up, went and put my little bowl right next to me, lit, and went back to sleep again. That was all just instinctive. That's when they say keep your guard up, and that's what you do when you come to these demons, man. It works. And there's another one as well that called the sage. That's also very good.
Oh yeah, I got some of that from Brooks the other day. Yeah.
Don't underestimate them things there, you know. When they use on the right hand side and you know how to use them properly with the Most High blessing, they do work.
Yeah, my woman said she was feeling some funny shit up in her house.
Yeah.
I gave her some. I prayed over it, gave her some sage, like that.
It work, man. And you must be, because Satan wants to discourage people. People are very unknown. When it comes to health, especially with health, people are very, very easily discouraged, man. They've got patience as well. You know why? Of ease. Ease has put a spell on it. That's why. It's pharmaceutical. If you get a headache, right, now I used to take a load of, no one took as much calories. Right?
I used to take that.
Right. No, maybe you did, right? But when I started getting rid of them, the headaches would go in, and then I looked at other things to take. But I always knew that I had to be more patient because I was so used to getting this instant fucking hit. Because when you take a couple of them, you feel nice, you might feel asleep, you go into some kind of trance. And when you take what I take, other things what I take, it takes a little bit more time. And then you go, and then it's more long term. And now I don't really get them, man. Let me say this too. Never talk about the herbs. I find it shit. But also everything about patience and timing and Most High blessing in it. So I'll read that one again, right? Psalms 91 and 4 says, and he shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler.
Yeah, that's on that. The feathers of his wings are the chariots, man. But we trust in the Lord, and his chariots, man. And the Lord is coming back. Yahushua's coming in that farm ship. We have the angels and the other ships coming, man. That's the wing of the Lord, man. He will deliver us up into that chariot, and pass on. That's what we learned. Passover was, just under 3 weeks away. 2.5 weeks or something like that, man. 3 weeks away, whatever. You got Passover. What's that? The Lord delivering us out of judgment. So when the Lord is bringing that final judgment on Babylon, his elect are going to get delivered out of that from the four winds of the earth, man. So that those winds are the chariots, man. Those feathers are the chariots of the Lord, man. You know, go on, man.
Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that fleeth by day.
Yeah, which is what? Them missiles, man. You know, we're not going to be terrified by that. Okay? Because they're coming. You know, you got the wars and the rumors of wars. You know, we're talking about that. You got fucking Russia and Ukraine. You know, we got badass Biden. You know, that dude. You know, and I think Biden's going to be in office when America gets clotted. But that guy is just, he's a nobody. When you check it, Biden is just a nobody. He needs to be in some care home somewhere getting his diapers changed.
He's got dementia. He's got senile dementia. He actually has got it.
He ain't alright, man. Biden is just fucking nobody. I really think he's going to be the one that America gets clotted. You know? Go, man.
Nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness, nor for the destruction that walketh at night.
The pestilences, man, that's them sicknesses, man. You know, that includes them sicknesses. Alright, so, you know, guess what? I mentioned that to say this, yeah? He came around here, man, you know, operators are well protected from that shit. You know?
Yeah, but you ain't gonna get none. You're gonna get none, man.
You ain't gonna get none, not from him, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
you know, this theory,
Principle,
you know, it's all good, man, because the Lord is protecting us, man. Why? Because as we go back to the first verse, it says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High, man. That's the importance of the scriptures, man. You know, that's the importance of the Holy Bible, man, and the correct breakdown thereof, man. A level of protection comes with that, man, which is the Holy Spirit, man. Okay? In fact, let's call it, I will send you the Comforter. Let's get that. Let's get into that. You know, I will. Yeah, this is. Because guess what, man? More now than ever, brothers and sisters. It's back. When you got that, you can go.
Yeah, alright, got it now. 14 and if you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it.
John 14.
That's John 14, yeah. That's John 14 and 14.
Let's go to our question.
Straight to it, yeah?
Yeah.
And I will pray the Father and
Yes,
his...
stop it.
Oh, yes, I did read. I read. If ye love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever.
Yeah, that's the Holy Spirit, man. Comfort. The word there is the wah, you know, which is lower, you know, which means comfort or comforter. You know, so the comforter for the wah is the same as harakah. You know, harakah kodash, man. It's the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is what? The Holy Spirit is the angels. So like the angels, man. The angels coming and working on our minds, man. You know, when we're by ourselves, you know, when we're with brothers, man. Okay, and there's a heavier portion of it when two or more brothers are together. There is also, you know, so we're two right now. We believe that the Spirit of the Lord. That's fine, no worries. We believe the Spirit of the Lord is with us. But then the Spirit is with us even in our daily lives, man. You know, so the Lord prayed to the Father, you know, the Heavenly Father Yahweh, that the Comforter will come, man. And that Comforter is the Holy Spirit, man. So we're good, man. That's why I say walk in the Spirit, man. You know. So let's read that verse again, man. Push up.
John chapter 14 and 16.
We know that the Lord is you know. Yeah. We know that the Lord, Yahweh has the Comforter with us, man. You know, so we're good, man.
If it happens again, I'll get it.
Come. Yeah, that's it, man. You know? Come on, man.
Your brother's got some water.
Water, nah, I don't have it. We've got to Sainsbury's.
Yeah, I just need to wipe this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got some good on
I
it.
got juice. I got juice.
Yeah.
John chapter 14 and carry on from I read 17 now, yeah? Even the Spirit of truth whom the world cannot receive because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth in you, dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. I read that. Even the Spirit of truth whom the world cannot receive because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him.
Yes, the world is what the rest of Israel and then all these nations in general. They don't, like you were saying earlier, when shit hits the fan, these Russians, these Ukrainians, other people, right? Who they gonna call them? They got nothing. They gonna call them their God, like they're Russian Orthodox and all of that stuff. Give it to them to see. You know, blessed are your eyes for they see and your ears for they hear. But what about all the other people? Well, they weren't given to them. You know? So it's a blessing to have the Holy Spirit. It's tied into everything where I'm speaking about. I wanted to from there to get 2nd Ezra 9. You know, I wanted to kind of start out with that, but the Spirit had it, you know, which was perfect anyway. You know, because it speaks about measuring the time. How you gonna measure the time if the Spirit of the Lord ain't dealing with you? You can't see it. All you see is what the government told you. You know, you clock in at 6 o'clock at night and then 10 o'clock at night again to watch BBC News and then of world events. Imagine that. People's understanding of world events is fucking BBC News, man, and ITV and CNN. Yeah, what they said. Yeah, that's all they understand. Which you made, man. And this is the very set time, man. We're understanding that. This is the very set time wherein the highest is beginning to visit the world which you made. How? Through wars and rumors of wars. You got into that in Matthew 24. You know, through uproars of the people, man. Protests. We saw a whole protest go here, you know, not too long ago, man. You know, through famines and earthquakes, you know. All of these things are the signs of the highest visiting the earth, man. As you read in Matthew 24th chapter, verse 8, all of these are the beginning of sorrows, man. Alright? And it's heavy that we're in it's heavy that we're in Passover season, because guess what? In ancient Egypt, Mount Zion, when the Lord brought forth deliverance, what did he bring just before? He brought plagues, man. You know, plagues hit Egypt, man. You know, so guess what? The Lord, by the Lord plaguing this place, we know that our Passover is just at hand. Like we're living in the sea, like, you know, like we said, 2-3 weeks down the line, we're gonna have it's the Passover according to our Hebrew calendar. But the spirit of this whole world is Passover. By the Lord bringing destruction, by the Lord bringing plagues, and by the Lord also bringing deliverance.
But if you cook the brothers, is read the book of Daniel 9. Somebody get that.
Let's get I'll do that.
Yeah, because what the brother's saying is correct. Because what the Lord is getting ready to do out here is open up. And you know, we're seeing the current events and all of these different things happening all around us. But at the end of the day, the Lord is getting ready to open up the floodgates of destruction. So before that happens, we have to get in order with it. Just a little, you know, or it might be a long time or something. But we'll see what the Spirit will say.
We kind of warmed up the topic. So good. What verse do you want?
Yes, you know, it's not Daniel 9:4, Ezekiel 9:4.
Oh yeah, Ezekiel. That's a heavy chapter. Straight to the point?
Yep.
Right. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that was done in the midst thereof.
Now, you look at that word mark in the book of Daniel 9, what verse 4? Exempt from what? Judgment. So what is the mark that's going to exempt you from the judgment of God himself? What exempt you from judgment? And we've been talking about the times of judgment day for as long as we remember teaching this gospel overall. And now it's finally here. Like, there were certain things I found out that I was speaking about years in advance, about 3 to 4, maybe 5 years in advance. And some of those things are happening right now. and many all of you other brothers that are older in the faith. You know, so you're at this very moment in time. So that proves right there that we're the men of the Lord. And at the same time, being saying that to those that are just caught onto the video or the live shit that we're doing, you guys need to repent. If you're so-called black, so-called Latino Native American Indian, what you gotta realize is that y'all are Israelites, man. What that means is that you're people of the Most High. That's what that means. And with that being the case, you have to revert back to your power. That was the reason as to why the Lord created us to serve Him and to show the example to the world and how to conduct yourself. All right, and we're gonna get there. Go on, brother.
Right. So this is back in Ezekiel 9:4, and it says, "And the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof."
Yeah, we're in the time of the abominations in the midst that be done in Israel. Excuse me. We're in that time right now where you have the powers that be, which control the media, that promoted this idea of androgyny, and you can't say nothing about it. You know, a man could change his gender, a woman could change their gender. You can't say nothing about that, because if you do say something about that, you can be penalized in the way that they want you to be penalized. So we're in a wicked society where you have all manner of abominations that's being done in the midst among us. And this is why you can clearly see that this world will experience a nuclear war. It's very near and dear. It's clear to see from the standpoint of the prophets and men of the law. It's very clear to see that this society is set up and sanctioned for destruction. Okay, go on, brother.
Right. And it says in verse 5, and to the others he said in mine hearing, "Go ye after him to the city."
Yeah, go with the apple. That's the angels. So when the angels came together, I believe, if I'm correct, right, to the Most High, the angels were told of the Most High to look, kill every soul that does not have the mark. But come not near those that have the mark. What is the mark representing? The mark which is meaning to be exempt from judgment. And guess what? Get into the spirit. See that? But anyway,
Revelation 7.
yeah, 7 verse 1, I think it is. Yeah, because when you really think about it, you know, the whole topic of today is, well, right now, and how we're not supposed to be, excited about as of yet, because basically things have to be set up in the right proper order. The Lord has to get everything in order for His nations, and as well as their positioning as well. Okay, and then once the Lord has everything in order among His nations, then and only then we can
Wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Yeah, so that right there shows to you, right, as the brother just read it, that the angels are the ones that's going to be responsible for this war, which will take place on the four corners of the earth, especially surrounding the Euphrates River. All right, like it says in the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, which we're going to get later on, where it says the Lord will plead with the nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is around that region, around the Gulf area. All right, so you notice what's going on in the media today, blowing up what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, which has been going on for 15 years now. That's been going on, that's nothing new, but now the media pays attention to it, and people get the feeling like, oh, it's just something that's starting to happen out of the blue. No, it's been going on, and it's a small situation anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, but as well as that's been going on for years, the whole situation in Yemen has been going on for years with England. All right?
Neither the sea.
Their power and their force. Then the angels are going to be responsible. They got to like the time of Jacob's trouble, the tribulation, being tried, right? All of these things will come to pass. The uproars amongst the people against their government. See, so, all of that has to happen first, brothers. Anyway, yeah, so go back to Daniel's 9, right? We got to get back to the main thing, and we got to get to another point with the spirit.
Let me charge yours. The phone's low.
Oh.
Right, let me read it for you.
All right.
Ezekiel chapter 9:4, and it says, "And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the other he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity.
Yeah, so when we go into the history, because that's really an historical account that happened during the time of Ezekiel. And Ezekiel was basically pretty much conveying the point of the angels on how the angels were let loose against the whole house of Israel, just damn near, because they were worshiping the King of Heaven, especially the women at the time. Among our people, got smitten by those angels. And it seemed like the Lord was wiping out the whole nation. All right? So what is the Lord going to do in these times? When the judgment is laid down to the pipe, all of our people are going to be consumed. Because why? They don't want to repent. They didn't want to come before us and acknowledge the Heavenly Father, which we're nothing more than ambassadors of the Heavenly Father anyway. You know, so we're all around the world. You can't act like, oh, I didn't see these guys. You did see us.
Yeah.
You either saw us in person or you saw us on the internet. Because we're worldwide. We're on the internet. Excuse me. We're in America. We're in South America. We're in the islands. We're in all over Europe. You know what I'm saying? Like the brothers and as well as, I mean, I can't say the sisters because y'all are not teaching, but I'm just really aiming at the men of the Lord that's out all around the world now. And people have really no leeway to say, well, I didn't know. You did know. Of course you did. I'm going to continue with this
Charging 52, that's alright.
9th chapter. Yeah, so it reads, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women will come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house, and he said unto them, defile the house and fill the courts with the slain, and go ye forth. And they went forth and slew in the city. So when the Lord gave the command to the angels to slew in the city, that's exactly what they did, and they did it to the utmost perfection. All right. So when the angels of death pursued the cities, and amongst these neighborhoods among our people, y'all are going to be put to death, man. Y'all didn't want to repent, and even you false prophets out there. And I noticed that you know, and this is just me personally speaking, I don't really see the other camps talking about what's going on around the world like we do, especially this whole Ukraine situation, because a lot of them are really scared. And begin at my sanctuary. Doesn't it say in the book of Peter, 1 verse, 1 Peter 4 verse 7? You can, brother, give me that. That's what the Lord said. The Lord said he was going to start at his house in terms of judgment is concerned. So judgment is going to pursue our people first, and then the nations. This judgment is coming all around. Judgment is going to start happening out there. And it's about time on. And it's real soon. Just not yet. Go on, brother.
1 Peter 4 and 7.
Yeah. I think it's 4 verse 1, but I think it's 17.
Right. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High.
That is, man. The Lord is going to start judging them. And among our doctrine. So we're not brothers in that regard. However, the Lord is going to begin at his house. Those that know that know the Lord. All right? And false prophets, and as well as those that know they should be going out, but they're not going out, and they're serving the Lord in their own way. The Lord is going to judge them, and the Lord is going to judge them by the plague things, and as well as the war, which will occur. All right? Go on, brother.
And it says, verse 18, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
Yeah, and that's how it's going to go out. We're going to be scared by the skin of our teeth. We're going to be saved by the skin of our teeth. You're going to start seeing missiles hitting right next, somewhere right next to you, man. And you may be feeling like, man, I don't even know if I'm going to make it. Maybe I'm going to be destroyed. Maybe I'm not the elect, but the Lord all of a sudden delivers you with the goodness. And plus, you got to understand this too. You got to also be aware that these nations have what you call instant missiles, right? Where, right, it's called hypersonic missiles, right? So if these nations got them counter missiles, man, then that would have to conclude that we would have to be hyperly safe, sonically safe, hypersonically safe. So there you go, man. So, you know, how much more the wicked. So you niggas gotta get it right, man, before the decree comes.
Right. And it says, shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
Right. Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? So where is the false prophets going to be? They're going to be right along with the earth. That's where they're going to be. So again, as I say, man, you guys in Israel, y'all got to get it right. If you know that you're off, and you know you're falling with someone that's off, you need to get yourself together before the Lord brings his judgment down. You know what I'm saying? Go on, brother.
I've got Ezekiel on deck.
All right. You know, so I mean, that's just the bottom line. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it's all about judgment coming. Like the pastors like to have you believe God is all love, and we can just, all right, how can we just all be about good and bad, but the Lord can't be about good and bad? And he created us. What the hell are they talking about, man? And why? The reason why they don't make sense as to what they're talking about is they don't read the scriptures and they don't know the scriptures. And they could know the scriptures, but they gotta hearken to what we gotta say. As well, the ones with the one and only truth, the 100% truth, I say. All right, and it's proven itself. The 100% truth that we have is proven itself as a process of time. Go on, brother.
So back in Ezekiel chapter 9, verse.
Lord, since these angels are to do what they gotta do, they're gonna be bringing nothing more than judgment on the face of this earth. And if you ain't on the right hand side of the Father, man, then your ass is going to be kaput in those days. All right? And the thing with this whole Ukraine and Russia situation, because I know all of you guys are watching what's going on around the world as well, right? As well as watching. That's supposed to be very good.
Yeah.
That's to let you know that the Lord is on his way. It's what we just reading the book of Ezra, the 9th chapter. And when you see all of these things happening that I've spoken of to you, then know that the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And y'all know this, man. Alright? Go on, man.
And it says, and it came to pass, while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face and cried and said, Ah, Lord power, wilt thou destroy all the residue of Israel in thy pouring out on their fury upon Jerusalem?
Right, so Ezekiel thought they're going to do the same thing, man, with their vows, with their plagues. They're going to start laying everybody out. And it's going to seem to us that we may be next in being destroyed. But that's not the case. We're going to see all around the reward of the wicked. The wicked of the Edomites, which he's the exact wicked, he's the wicked, as well as we're going to see the reward of the wicked among our people. And it's seeming like the Lord is going to wipe everybody out. Alright, go on, brother.
And it says, in verse 9, then said he unto me, the iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood.
Right, and the land is full of blood. Because at the time, they were in the land worshiping gods and misleading the nation into doing the same. So that's how it was defiled with blood. But our people are defiled with blood because of what their sins. So when all hell breaks loose, they're going to be pretty much set up for destruction. Because really what they don't have the blood of Yahweh, the blood of their sins. That's what they do have. And that's what's going to pretty much bring them down to the ground. And I'm not just talking about so-called black people. I'm talking about even the Israelites among these other nations that look like these other nations. They're going to be destroyed too. All right? But also at the same time, what you're going to have an overriding multitude which will come after the 144,000 out of every nation, and they're going to serve the Lord. Okay? So I'm just putting that out there. Go on, brother.
And it says, and the city full of perverseness, for they say, the Lord has forsaken the earth, and the Lord seeth not.
Right, and the Lord seeth not. And that's the mentality. Like the nigga that came around here. Right? So, you know, that's what our people are thinking. That are outside of this truth. They're thinking that everything is just going to go as usual. No, there's going to come a time when all of this is going to be put to stop. All of you niggas that know it's true, they don't want to repent, you're going to be soaking in the bed of judgment. All right? Go on, brother.
Verse 10, and as for me also,
Yep.
mine eye shall spare not,
Right, go on.
neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way
Right.
upon their head.
Yes, so the Lord is going to repay them back for the wrongs that they did. Just like how a so-called white man has to pay for what he done. You guys are going to have to pay for what you guys have done. Because you knew the truth. Especially you false prophets. And they're actually the worst. Because they know the Father's will. They know the scriptures. But they're teaching it wrongfully because of financial gain. Which choke up the word. Alright? So they're going to get the worst payment of judgment. And like I said, I wouldn't want to swim in the waters, man, for y'all. Go on, brother.
Last verse is verse 11, and behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the match, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded.
Right. In other words, the angel has done what they were told to do, is to slew the people. So let's go back and read Revelation, the 7th chapter. So those 4 angels are ready and set for that particular time and hour to release those missiles, man. Because the Lord, you got to understand, the Most High is in control of men, the kings of the earth. So these men, especially in Russia, right? They're going to gather all of their allies together back in like how it was back in the day during the Soviet Union era, and that's when all hell's going to break loose geopolitically, man. You know, just together in the corner. You know, and Putin, and the reason why Putin and them went into Ukraine and did what they did to Ukraine, because really, they want to pretty much gather their allies together. And Ukraine is basically Russia. You may as well just say it's Russia.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And you know what Biden also witnessed is reformulate the Soviet Union. He's trying to get back Ukraine to reformulate the Soviet Union. He said it out of his own mouth. So if anyone would know it, he would know, because he's an older cat, and he's also an insider too. Go on, brother.
So Revelation chapter 7 verse 1, and after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor any tree.
Right.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
Yeah, so that's not, you know, once again, as I'm going to of you, brother, and I want you to tap into it. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. See what?
Somebody isn't on time.
Do you know what? I can just give it to you. I can keep it on my phone. I'll keep it set. Yeah, so you know what? I gotta go to. Here we have it.
Right, so this is an article from Yahoo, and it says Biden says Putin invasion of Ukraine shows he has much larger ambitions and wants to re-establish the former Soviet Union. And it says the bullet points. President Joe Biden said Russian President Vladimir Putin is seeking to reform the Soviet Union. Biden announced new sanctions against Russia in response to its latest attack on Ukraine. Other US politicians have also expressed concerns about Russia wanting to expand its borders.
Yeah, and that's just the truth. That's one thing that he said that is the truth. What Vladimir Putin wants to do, he wants to reformulate the Soviet Union, just like how you have the European Union and you have all of the 50 states, right? That's what Putin wants to do. He wants to re-emerge that spirit in all of those landmasses there, where they come together, and once they come together, America doesn't have a place to stand on over there. All right? So that's what they don't want. Biden wants this, and the thing with Biden, he's showing that the country don't got it together. America doesn't have it together. All right? And then you have in the military, you have a bunch of women and the transgenders.
Yep.
So how are they ready? How are they going to be ready to fight those boys in the military of Russia? They won't be able to do it. So according to the Bible, which the Bible is so exact and so consistent, because we've been speaking about this for years, that America, which is known as Babylon the Great, which is known as the whore, which sitteth upon many waters, will and only be destroyed. And we can see all of that. All you got to do is look at what's going on geopolitically and look at the spirit of the military and everything else, and you can clearly see that America's basically going to be destroyed. It's so clear. You know, from the men of the Lord's perspective, it's so clear that we can see this, man. All right, and you have pastors out there that be trying to act as though they came up with the idea of the prophecy of America in Babylon when they really listening to us. Like you got this Amalekite, his last name is Rosenberg or something like that. He's calling himself breaking down Ezekiel 38. Where did he get the breakdown from? He got it from us. Every pastor that you see, somehow, some way, whether they be small pastors, grandiose pastors, they're all listening to us. Because the Israelites, what we're doing is we're actually reading the scriptures and breaking it down to you, interpreting all of it. The Bible is a book, but they was reading it with no understanding. Now they have the understanding because we came on the scene. Go on, brother.
And it says, continuing on in this article, it says, President Joe Biden on Thursday forcefully condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine and warned that the Russian President Vladimir Putin seeks to restore the Soviet Union.
Right, that's what he wants to do. He wants to restore the Soviet Union. You know, all of those areas, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, if I'm saying it correctly, all of those areas, man, that was once a part of the USSR. Putin wants to reemerge that again. He wants to bring that back again because it's wartime now. And this situation just really stirred up the bear. It woke up the sleeping bear. That's what this did. Go on, brother.
And he says, quoting Joe Biden, he says, he has much larger ambitions than Ukraine.
Oh, absolutely.
He wants to, in fact, re-establish the former Soviet Union. That is what this is about. Biden said to Putin. This comment followed Biden's remarks on the US's harsher response to Russia's latest attack on Ukraine. I think that he is ambitious and the world has arrived, he added.
That's why those Russians are down in Ukraine. It's not to destroy Ukraine off the face of the map. They know they could. But it's really to get back Ukraine. That's all Russia can do. It's just like I was watching live the Apostle Hostages, which makes all the sense in the world when you think about it. All they gotta do is knock out the current leader that's in Ukraine right now, and get a puppet leader that can toe the line. That's all they gotta do. You know what I'm saying? And it don't take much for them to do it because they're that damn strong in comparison to Ukraine any dog. Go on, bro.
And it says, Biden also announced that the deployment of an additional 7,000 U.S. troops to Germany to support its allies in the North Atlantic Treaty.
And that's what this whole thing is about, with even within the EU and as well as America. The reason why they're down there in Ukraine, protecting Ukraine, because they don't want Russia to take back Ukraine, is they see that Russia or Vladimir Putin has more of a, as he said out of his own mouth, a bigger ambition to reformulate the Soviet Union. That's why they're down there. That's what it's all about. I think because Putin is destroying Ukraine. No, he's not destroying Ukraine off the face of the map. It's really because they see what he's really doing. Okay? Like I've explained. Go on, bro.
And it says, Biden also announced that the deployment of an additional 7,000 U.S. troops to Germany to support its allies in the NATO.
Well, what's 7,000 going to do? Come on, man. That ain't doing nothing. Like they make, like you know, a person that doesn't really know what's going on, they'll read it and be like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of military. You know, it's not.
That's a small amount.
That's a small amount. That ain't shit. Go on, brother.
And it says, but made clear that the U.S. will not fight in Ukraine. However, if Putin were to advance into countries that are part of the NATO, the U.S. will get involved, he added. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg also vowed that the
German security that, look, we have an enemy at bay and we got to stand by each other. That was the spirit that she was coming in and reminding them. And to doing so because Germany and as well as the other European countries, they're not holding America's hands like that. They're not that close to them like that. And we know according to Bible prophecy, according to the book of Revelations, with the 17th chapter, that the members of NATO are going to separate themselves from America, the EU, and slap missiles on America. This is what's getting ready to happen. This is what will happen. All right? Let me use that word instead. That's what will happen. Go on, brother.
And it says, the only thing and this is quoting that person, Jens Stoltenberg, the only thing I'm convinced of is if we don't stop now, he'll be emboldened.
Right, and you know what, too, even if they go down there or not, listen, man, they ain't gonna stop nothing. Once the Lord put the spirit on those means, those Russians, they gonna do what they gotta do. They're gonna reemerge the Soviet Union, right? And the thing about it is America don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to these nations. They're economically low, they're moralistically low, and as well as their military ain't got they don't got it, man. Like I said, you got females in the military, you got transgender benders in the military, all kind of androgyny in the military. You mean to tell me?
Don't move against him now with these significant sanctions, he will be emboldened.
Yeah, that's all they can do is sanction it. They can't go tip for tap with those allies that Russia's with. Plus, you got big ass China too. You got to watch out for. So all they can do is sanction the country. But in sanctioning the country can actually have an effect on other countries, man. Even down here in the UK. And the ultimate reason why they want to sanction Russia, to be exact, because it's all about demolishing the dollar. Get rid of the dollar so that the world, and as well as all these other currencies, can go straight and they can set up a digital currency. That's another reason why this situation is happening as well. All right, go on, brother.
And it says the president on Thursday and imposed on Tuesday.
Go on.
Biden met with G7 leaders and agreed upon further sanctions against Russia after troops moved in on Ukraine's northern. Right. Which is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon.
So you will read the first verse, brother.
Jeremiah 50 and 1. The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldees by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken.
Right, and that's what we do. We're not concealing the knowledge of that. We're actually proclaiming and publishing what's about to happen. We've been doing this for years, beginning with Albert Bivens, and as well as on down to our apostles. We've been teaching about the incoming destruction of America, right? Constantly. Like the scripture says also that thine eyes shall see thy teachers. So not only are you seeing us proclaim this truth in this case on the internet, but you're also seeing us in live color, in living color, excuse me. So we're not concealing this message. We're unconcealing the message and telling you and pretty much making it well known that this is what's about to happen. Go on, brother.
And it says in verse 2, Bel is confounded. Morderak is broken in pieces.
Right.
Her idols are confounded.
Right.
Her images are broken in pieces.
And your modern day idols are your celebrities. They're going to be destroyed as well. Go on.
And it says, for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her,
Right.
which shall make her land desolate.
Right, and the nation out of the north shall come up against it. Because America is also known as the land of the north as well. But you're going to have another nation which is further off of the stone north, which will gather their allies together. And they're going to rise up against what? Which is called Babylon. Which Babylon is a code name for America in the Bible. America is not the term America itself. It's not biblical, but it's there as the code name of Babylon. Go on.
Verse 3, for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her,
Yeah.
which shall make her land desolate.
Right, which shall make her land desolate. Go on.
And none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. In those days and in that time, saith the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together,
Yep.
going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord their power.
And that's what you see happen right now. So as the destruction is coming, at the same time, we're coming together as one. The so-called black, so-called Latinos, and Native American Indians, as one people, the Israelites. Because once upon a time, we worked together during the time of David, all right? But what happened was King Solomon pretty came when the violence came after that. But now the Lord is re-emerging that that togetherness with the tribes of Israel as well. Go on.
And it says,
And we do by at the same time. As well as it's known as the house of honor. It's like,
verse 5, and they shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves unto the Lord.
and that's what we're doing right now. Like when all of us came into the truth, who did we connect to, man? How did the Spirit see me? What happened? The Spirit allowed us the Spirit guided us, another one. The Spirit guided us towards the apostles. And they taught us all that they've known through the Holy Spirit. And now we know and understand what the will of the Lord is. All right? And now we're doing the Lord's service as He commanded us. Go on, bro.
And it says, they shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant.
In the perpetual covenant. And that's why we notice, beginning with the apostles, they always talk about how you should remain in the truth. And always reminding us of men that left the truth and what the consequences is going to be after that. All right? Like it reads also, and as well as Yahweh Shai said it. He said it in the book of Luke 9. He that put his hand to the plow looking back is not fit for the kingdom. It is true. That was a covenant that we made between us and our power, that we would remain. So in the contract, it says that we should remain in this thing until the rest of our life, until the end comes. Also in the book of Revelations that says, hold fast until I come. What is that we're going to hold fast? The doctrine of Yahweh Shai to the very end. But if we don't hold fast to the Lord, in other words, His gospel, then basically we're going to be destroyed because we've broken that covenant. So let's read that again.
So it says here in verse, verse 5, they shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten.
Right, and a perpetual covenant that should not be forgotten. So we have to uphold the agreement. We came in this thing, so now we have to pretty much continue on in this thing. Can't let it go. Go on, brother.
And it says, and my people have been lost sheep.
Right.
Their shepherds have caused them to go astray.
Yes. That uphold these decrepit churches. They were our shepherds. Now we've returned back to the true, genuine shepherds, which was him, by Yahweh Shai himself. Go on, brother.
They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from the mountain to hill.
Right.
They have forgotten their resting place.
Yeah, so what's the verse one, brother?
Verse 6.
Okay.
Verse 7 now. All that found them have devoured them. And their adversary said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord,
Go on.
the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers.
Right, go on.
Remove out of the midst of Babylon,
Right.
and go forth out of the land of Chaldees,
That's it.
and be as the goats before the flocks.
Right, go on.
For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations.
Right, an assembly of great nations. Now we're going to get back exactly to the point. Now, what's the assembly of great nations? The emerging of the Soviet Union, which is what Vladimir is trying to do, as Biden put it, and he's correct. Because for one, like I said, Biden is an insider, and as well as also he's an older individual, so he knows what and what he's trying to do. Vladimir Putin, exactly. So that's the game plan. So once they got all of these guys together, these different nations, together, then they're going to go for the blow. Then they're going to be on the ready. So that means we have to wait. And that's going to take some time. Like you said, I was watching the line, just a little bit of it. And you were saying, these nations, they have their little issues there and they're the allies. But at the end of the day, they all got to get together. They're going to squash it. And they're going to come to realize that we have an all common enemy.
Babylon.
Yep.
And it says in, where am I at? 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldees,
Right.
and be as the he-goats before the flocks.
Okay, go on.
For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations,
Right.
from from the north country,
and from the north country, Lord.
and they shall set themselves in array against her,
Uh-huh.
and shall be as a mighty expert man.
Right.
None shall return in vain.
Right, and they're going to shoot those missiles at them. And those missiles are not going to return. Now, when you read the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter, you can't, brother, the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter. What it means by an expert, man, it's like, for example, if you take someone that, especially the ancient world, you would use the bow and arrow to shoot at your enemy. The modern day bow and arrows right now are going to come out of them silos and do severe damage on the cities that they land on. And that's those missiles. Okay, like there's another scripture that the word that you, let me correct myself. The world that you were born into that you only knew, it's not going to be no longer anymore. But rather that it's going to be another one that's going to be set up after the ruins of this one, and that's the kingdom of heaven. Go on, brother.
Joel chapter 2, verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion,
Right.
and sound an alarm
And
in
that's
my
the
holy
Lord.
mountain.
We're warning our people of the impending danger. Most people want to do what they got to do and live their life. Get ready for yourself to happen while you're in this.
Right. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble,
Right.
for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand.
And I mean, if people really knew about something, they would be
chapter is that?
trembling.
Joel 2.
They would be trembling. If people really knew what he was actually saying and they took it to heart and they understood what he was saying, they would tremble. But that shows you that these people are on a lower level. Because back in the ancient world, when the prophets came into this, people had this fearness in them. People had fear of the prophets being around because they kind of knew that the prophets was coming with an ill message. It wasn't going to be a good message. So that's showing that these
And behind them,
are
a flame burning.
So what is that flame? The thrust which propels the missile to go up. What you have intercontinental ballistic missiles, which can go from one continent to another continent and do severe damage as they hit ground zero. And every nation has these missiles. Okay? And while these nations have all of these missiles, you that are listening and growing in the spirit, all you got to do is read Isaiah 13. All right? Those of you that understand the scriptures enough, all you got to do is read that, and that specifies the total destruction of America itself. Babylon. Go on, brother.
And it says, I'll read that again. The land is is the Garden of Eden before them,
Yeah.
and behind them a desolate wilderness.
Yeah.
Yea, and nothing shall escape them.
Right, yeah, and nothing shall escape. So no one is going to be able to escape the damnation of the Heavenly Father, which will come out of those silos. And I'm talking about those missiles, to be exact. All right? They're going to come out of the silos, and they're going to hit ground zero where they need to land and kaput. No more America anymore. That's the main line that the Lord is going to judge. And also the Lord is going to judge down here as well. And it's coming, man. It's right around the corner. Now, when we was talking like this for years ago, I would say people thought it was mad, but now it's not far-fetched anymore. The whole idea of, oh man, the government can put us in concentration camps. That's not even far-fetched anymore also. With how the government is moving and what's being shown on the internet.
Yeah.
Everything's there, right? But being that we're talking about the destruction, that's not far-fetched to see at all. It's clear to see that this place is sanctioned and destined for destruction, man. As close as we move forward in the times. Go on, brother.
And it says in verse 4, the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses,
Right.
and as horsemen, so shall they run.
And the horse is synonymous with power anyway. So when those missiles do what they gotta do, they're gonna demonstrate their power. That's what that means. Go on.
And it says, like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like
Right.
the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble,
Huh.
as a strong people that set in battle array.
Right.
Before their face, the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness.
Yeah, because people are gonna be burned up. Go on.
And it says, they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war.
Yep.
And they shall march every one on his way.
So this is the prophet Joel actually showing you, man, as he's envisioned it, the destruction of what is called America today, the greatest empire in this time, in this age. It's not the greatest empire of all time, but the greatest in this particular moment in time. And he's actually envisioned and showcased it through his words of its destruction and the way it's going to be destroyed. this age. But you have a lot of people that will tell you, well, the Bible is a 1,000+ year old book, has nothing to do with modern day age. It does, when you have the understanding of it. But that's just people speaking without understanding. That's all that is. You know, but yeah, so that's all I really wanted on that if you can, brother. Go back to Jeremiah 50, where you just read off where it says, they shall be as an expert man, none shall return. Something like that.
Right. This is Jeremiah 50 and 9. For lo, I will raise against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man.
Right, and there you go. So he's giving it away. The arrow shall be like that of a mighty expert man. Right. Right. So there you go. Which the arrows is not literal. It's metaphorically expressing something else that they are the missiles. Because the missiles are going to shoot like an actual bow and arrow itself. You know, the silo is like the bow, and the arrow is the whistle. So these missiles, when they shout, they're going to aim directly where they need to aim, where they're going to need to aim, because they have missiles that can detect heat. That's why you have the term heat-seeking missiles. All right, they have the highest form of technology, more technology that is, especially Russia and all of these other nations in the east, which are allied with Russia. So the Lord is setting this party up, boy. He really is. Go on, brother.
Right. Isaiah 34 says like the falling fig tree. Right. So back in Isaiah 50 and verse 10, and Chaldea shall be a spoil, and the spoil and all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, because ye destroyers of mine heritage.
Right, because the Lord saw what was done down on this earth towards his people. And the ultimate reason why the Third World War is happening, because the Lord, that's just the Lord getting back to these nations because of the wrongs that they've done unto us. That's the core reason why we're going to have a nuclear war. And it explains it very well in the Bible, in the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, exactly. Because of the controversy of Zion and the affliction of his people that he saw, now he's going to judge the nations by gathering them all together for their own demise. Zephaniah 3, brother, verse 8. So it seemed like the nations got away with enslaving our people, especially the Edomites, but they haven't got away.
This is Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger.
Right, and even all my fierce anger. So the Lord is going to express his fierce anger with the wasters to destroy. And he's going to set men and let loose these angels to do what they got to do, and they're going to let loose these.
And it says, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. For then will I turn to the people of pure language, and they shall call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent.
That's all we need on that. And just by you reading that, that shows the truth on how we have the actual name of the Lord himself.
Back in Jeremiah 50 verse 10, and Chaldea shall be a spoil, and that spoil and all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord.
Yeah, they're going to be like what they're going to be doing. All of these nations, and as well as even the EU. And I'm going to say this, right? It's for the sake of the truth. England and the rest of these other nations within the EU, they're going to forsake America. They will forsake America, and they're going to start in line with Russia. And they're going to be blowing the missiles at America. And America's going to be right along by themselves. That's exactly what's set up to happen. Because that's a part of what? Or a big part of the will of the Lord.
So sorry, I don't mean to be rude.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
Right. And it says, verse 11, because you were glad, because you rejoiced, Because ye destroyers of mine heritage.
Right, because of ye destroyers of mine heritage. Go on.
Because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass.
And they have grown fat. When you go to every American city, man, the roads are huge. And they have large stores, man. They have a whole lot of channels and shit. There's so many things that you can get from America. Like there's certain things you can go for America to get that you can't even find elsewhere. So America's grown fat. Everything, and that's why the people are fat. You know? That's why it's also known as a great consuming country. Like even if you have 1% of America, you'll take it. You're doing very, very well. You see, and that's why the Chinese were able to get up above America by using America, which is also in the book of Revelations, the 18th chapter, with the shipmasters and all that. So America's grown fat. And it's really because of based on enslavement. That's how they became great. When you do the research, when the Israelites went under the other nations, we made them great. So America became great off of us. But what did they do? They add more features to our bond. That's how they screwed up with the Lord's inheritance, man. So now what the Lord is going to do, the Lord is going to pay them back for the wrongs that they did unto us. That's why this World War III is on the verge of happening. But it's not going to happen with this Ukrainian situation. All right? Go on, brother. As Yahweh shall put it. You shall hear wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet. Go on, bro.
And below his bulls, your mother shall be sore confounded.
Right, which is great, right? It's great.
A wilderness, a
Right.
dry land, and a desert.
Right, the hindermost part, that means the end part of the earth, basically. That's what the hindermost means. When you look up the word, if you can, brother, look it up. The word hindermost means the end of something. So America's at the end of the world, the other end of the earth, excuse me. So that part of the land is going to be what? Desolate. That part of the earth, to be exact.
Right.
Go on.
Right. It says hindermost, and it says definition of hindermost, an adjective located furthest to the rear.
Yes.
The backmost.
The backmost, exactly.
Related to the back.
Right, relating to the back, because when you go backwards, what are you doing? You're going left. The east is the front side of things. Everything starts in the east, and then you make your way to the left. Like for example, even program right, start from the left to the what is it? Start from the left to the right. But really, we should be right from beginning from the right hand side and then right into the left. All right, everything begins in the east. But the hindermost part of the earth is America, basically. And that's the place which will be sanctioned for severe destruction.
Right. So back in Jeremiah 50:12, and it says, your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert.
Because even though America has all of this power that they have concerning the weapons and the aircraft carriers and all of the above, they're still going to be destroyed now. Because it's written of the Lord, and the Lord is involved in this. So whatever the Lord doeth, it is going to be done. It's going to be done regardless of whether men think it's going to be done or not. It's going to be done. So I mean, we may look at America, like for example, look at David and Goliath, right? David slew Goliath with throwing the stone at his head, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he fell,
Slingshot.
right, and he fell down to the ground.
Yeah.
To be exact. So America's looking like that place can't be destroyed, but it will be destroyed. It will be destroyed.
Yeah.
Because it's written of the Lord, and the Lord is going to allow something to happen that's incapable of happening from the carnal perspective.
Yeah.
You see, the spirit outpowers the carnal. That's the difference. Go on, brother.
Verse 13, because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate.
Yeah.
Every one that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues.
Exactly. So that land is going to be no more. Like it reads in the book of, I think it's Isaiah 13, where that says that not even in the grave shall put you tender. Yeah, so which word be expressing that no man is going to be there to dwell there. No one. But there's creatures. Because it's going to be a desert. Like it reads in the, also explains itself that you're going to have sapphires dancing there. Alright? And all of those desert like birds in it. That's going to be the end result of America, basically. So all of this diplomacy that they're doing, talks and trying to threaten each other, right? America trying to puff themselves up. Nah, I mean, all of that doesn't matter. Because eventually, what's going to happen is what the scripture says is going to happen. Babylon will be destroyed. Like we was reading the article about how Biden was saying we got to put a stop to this. Nigga, you ain't going to stop shit, bro. All right? Yeah, so that's it on that. Yeah, so go and get the Ezekiel. Well, before we go there, I want you to read this article as well. Give me Joel the 3rd chapter first. Because really what we need to be paying attention to is also the heat building up in the Middle East. That's when actual world war is going to begin. And then I'll give this article to the brother to read.
This is Joel chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel.
Right, so check this out. He said he will plead for his people. When you look up that word plead, the word is shapah, supposedly, which the word is judgment. So the Lord is going to judge these nations. Go on.
And it says, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Right, and also when you go to the land of Israel, it's divided. You have the quarters of the Muslims as well as you have the Israelis and many different peoples that are there. So they're actually part of the land. And you have you have two different primal doctrines, which is so-called Judaism, which that's not even biblical. And then you have Islam. Go on, brother.
So, Naki, I remember watching a documentary on BBC many years ago, and literally they cut everything. Now, we know it's bullshit, but apparently the grave of Noah is there. And they built a mosque on half of the grave, and then a Jewish synagogue on the other half of the grave. And they've literally got a wall dividing them. You know? Crazy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, back in Joel. Joel chapter 3 and verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink.
And that's exactly what they did. When you research the transatlantic slave trade, what was going on at that time? They would actually sell slaves for diluted wine. All right, those so-called Europeans, which was enslaving us, which probably they were so-called Jews anyway. They would send diluted wine to those Hamites. When you go into the history of that, go on, brother.
And it says, verse 4, yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head?
Yeah, and what's the ultimate recompense? The destruction. Go on.
And it says, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant.
And that's what they did when they conquered us. Now, during the Greeks, they did that. When they pursued the temple and changed it into a place of exercise, they took our goodly pearls and all of the stuff that we had used for ceremonial purposes. And as well as they've done that when they conquered us again during the time of ancient Rome in 70 AD. All right? So the Lord has everything in the count. And also, when you really think about it, when you go deeply, Joel is on the scene talking like he's the Lord, because really the Lord is speaking through him. Because actually, years after Joel, that's exactly what would happen. The Lord knew the Spirit, Joel knew the Spirit of the Lord that these things would happen. And that the end result would be to them actually having to receive their punishment in the most destructive way possible. And that's not nuclear destruction. Go on, brother.
And it says, The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have he sold unto the Grecians, that he might remove them far from their border.
Now, when you look up that Thailand and these different areas, right? They were originally down in Greece and as well as the different parts of Europe. But they got kicked out of there because Esau came up with it. You go into the issue on that regard. Because that's another line for another time. Go on, brother.
And it says,
But it's really sloppy, brother. It's really talking about the so-called white man. Because they actually put that name on themselves, calling themselves the Greeks. Go on, brother.
behold, I will raise them up out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sow your sons and your daughters into the land of the children of Judah,
Right.
and they shall sell them to the Sabians.
Right. In other words, we're going to have taskmasters, and those taskmasters of ours are going to be Hamites. And it does say that in the book of Isaiah, the 16th chapter, where it says that we will actually take them from Tarshish and ship them to our land, to rebuild our land back. So we're actually going to have cargo slaves according to the prophecies, and we're going to enslave those that enslaved our people. We're going to oppress those that oppressed our people as well. Isaiah 14, verse 1, I believe to verse 5 or something like that. Come on, brother.
And it says, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken.
Right, for the Lord have spoken it. So the Lord have spoken it, that it shall be done. As it reads in the book of Isaiah 55, verse 11, so shall our word be that goeth forth out of his mouth, it shall not return to him void. But it shall accomplish that which it pleases. And as well as it reads in Numbers 23, verse 19, how the Lord is out of power that he should lead and repent of his works. Go on.
And it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war.
Right, and that's doing right now. We're proclaiming the idea that a great event, a great cataclysmic event is going to take place on the face of the earth. Okay. You know, so I mean, that's what's being prepared, like I said, man. All right. Come.
Let me read this verse.
It always happens that whenever you're doing a show,
Yeah, cool.
he was calling you, man.
So let me read that again. Yep. Verse 7. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head.
Right.
And I will sow your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken.
And that proves right there also that post-nuclear war, the First World War, there's still people that's still gonna be alive. And that would have to be the case because this prophecy that we
Jeremiah 39 and 12 says, for thus saith the Lord, behold, thy whose judgment was not to drink of the cup, have surely drunken,
Yes.
and out thou shalt drunken, and art thou he that altogether go unpunished?
Right.
Thou shalt not go unpunished,
Yep.
but thou shalt surely drink of it.
Yeah, so the curse that we had to undertake, as it is written that the Lord will not alone acquit the wicked. The Lord is not going to stun the wicked from judgment. The Lord is going to pursue them with the judgment because of the wrongs that they have done, as we always talk about. Like, for example, we talk about the when the Spaniards came to the South American areas and conquered those people, and now they run those people over there now. The people that were conquered by the Spaniards are ruling over the people that they have conquered still. And then we can't forget about people like what's the guy's name, man? The Indian killer, what's his name? Andrew Jackson. He killed a lot of Indians, a lot of so-called Native American Indians, which are indeed Israelites. And you know, when you really understand how many people are in a particular state, it's like in the millions, man. So to get one state, how many millions of people did he have to kill to get that one state? And combine all of them numbers together. We're talking in the hundreds of millions. So they've killed 100 million people probably to get the whole lot of America. So they have to be judged. The Edomites are responsible for this and responsible for enslaving our ancestors. They have to be judged for the wrongs that they've done, man. Go on, brother.
Can't. 13. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Bozrah shall become a desolation.
Right, so the Lord sworn, check that out, the Lord has sworn that Bozrah will become a desolation. Now, is this literal? No, because Bozrah right now is a sightseeing area. You can go down and check it out. Ain't nobody dwelling there. But the modern day Bozrah that this is talking about is America, in lands where the Edomites are dwelling today. So they haven't gotten away. It seems like they've gotten away and they've ran away from the eyes of the Lord concerning judgment, but they haven't ran away. As the saying goes, you can remember you can't hide, right? Go on, brother.
A desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste.
Right, and all of the cities there shall be a perpetual waste, from city to city. In other words, from state to state. So all of these nations are going to gather themselves together and overthrow America in totality. That's what's set up to happen. Go on, brother.
And I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador he sent unto the heathen, saying, Gather ye together, and come against her, and rise up to the battle.
Right. So that's some nations. They're going to be aimed dead set against their primary enemy, because everybody has a number one enemy. Like I said earlier before, every nation has a common enemy, and when you really understand something, it's the Edomites. They're the common enemies around the world, especially the American Edomites that think they're better than everybody. As it reads in the book of Daniel 7, that they became more stout than even their fellows. Even Edomites are going to be rising up against the Edomites of America. Okay? So America's going to be demolition.
Yeah, on the way here, the bus went through all of the down in Parliament Square, Abbey Station. It's just like a roadblock. Most of let me get through, you know. Kitted out, like them guns look like them, like they weren't just average guns, them guns like machine guns. And I'm gonna put it up on the channel, just like a quick little thing, just going through, you know, on the way here, like a video. So this is like you say, Esau or white on white crime, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep.
Because it's a mixed emotions as well. Some people are saying that about the sanctions, a bit like that, and a lot of Russians are over here too.
Yeah, of course.
Protesting against.
I walk past them all the time, man.
So yeah. So Ukraine, they're Edomites, next door to Russia, which they're Edomites, next door neighbours, Edomites. You know, some jokes are there, but they're next to their neighbours. Over here, there's a lot of Russians over here against the Ukraine. It's all confusion, mixed emotions. So I like it though, because it's like when you go to football matches and you don't support no team, you ain't got no horse in the race. Let them do what they got to do.
Man. And I mean, it's not like we care about them. We don't give a shit about them. We say, man, let's go, let's do it, bro. Let's do it, guys.
Last one. For I will make thee small among the heathen, and despised among men.
You know what that means? Small means irrelevant. And America is becoming more and more irrelevant as the time progresses. No one fears America. Like I made mention of earlier before, Kamala Harris went to the conference of Germany, the Munich Security Conference to be exact. Man, the guys, the members that were there were actually sleeping, man. Half of them were sleeping, and most of the people were in the outfit, least of the state. In other words, in a very relaxed, zoned out state. Because, I mean, if your ally comes to you and warns you of something that's dangerous, you're supposed to be heightened and worried in the mind, not resting and sleeping. So, I mean, that's showing you the level of respect that the allies have for America, to be exact. There's no respect. Because really, in all reality, they're becoming irrelevant, and they're looked at as a gazing stock of the world. That's the truth. So if you can, brother, get the book of Mark 3, verse 23, because what did Yahweh say? He told the Pharisees, because he was coming up against the Pharisees, and as well as the Pharisees coming up against them. And Yahweh said, why would it make sense for Satan to be divided against themselves? And I'm going to use that parable.
Chapter 3, verse 23. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if the kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand.
Because overall, this is a kingdom. This is an empire. Just like how you had many empires prior before this one. This is one as well. So when you really think about it, you know, back in, I think it was what, is it April the 4th, 1949, when NATO and them all came together, they made a covenant with each other saying that they were going to stick with each other. And when they were all together, they collapsed. But now there's a spirit of division there. So when you have a division amongst these different nations, man, that is supposed to be innocent and to break down. Because if the members of the NATO union are not in together, then basically you have a broken system. Okay? So as Esau's empire is crashing, coming apart, the house of David is actually coming together simultaneously. Go on, bro.
It says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand.
Right, that kingdom cannot stand. And that's why it's falling apart. Little and little, gradually, like the Lord told the children of Israel, little and little, he would destroy the Philistines, I believe. And the book of Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. So little and little, the Lord is destroying these devils in the way that he's doing it. Go on, brother.
And it says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but have an end.
Yeah, but have an end. And the word economy means house. So this is Esau's economy. So within his economy, people have to rock out together. The Edomites got to come together and work together. But when they don't work together, like I said, there's a dissension that comes out of it. And now we're in the particular point in time where we're seeing the fall of the great, or it's about to be a great falling of this empire. You see, because there's a disagreement, there's this spirit of error that's in the midst, which will later cause great destruction in the midst, because it's going to be Edom against Edom, which will take out Edom with their blessing. Their blessing is going to be later translated into their curse.
Blessing is their curse.
Yep.
Right. I think that's it on that. Yeah. Mark 3, right?
Yeah, that's it on that. Yeah. You go back to Joel 3. Your time is going real slow today, man.
Hey, that's weird, man. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? It's only 5 o'clock, man.
Yeah. Slow.
Yeah.
You brother started around, what is it, 2 o'clock?
Around 2, yeah. I think it's only me, but...
No, I know it's a 2.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's approaching, we're approaching
Low back. Staying low back.
Oh, no battery. Oh, shit, yeah, let me see it down here.
Yeah, we're approaching spring, so it looks like time is going slow, but it's not. Just that the sun is going to be more,
Longer days.
yes, exactly, yeah.
You were talking about America, right? My cousins, we used to be quite close, but they've gone over there to live, right?
When did they go over there?
Oh, this was like in the 90s.
Oh, yes.
To stay.
Yeah.
But I remember what they were saying. I was young, but I was listening to them. And they said that over there, the roads are much wider.
Oh, yeah.
And you could get a lot, you could spend about, maybe things are different now, like with the fuel. She said you could put £5 in the tank. Some boy and a girl. My cousin. And you can really drive, you can far, you can drive on the roads along, you can drive forever, man.
Yeah, you can drive forever, yeah.
And the Big Mac, we knew about Big Mac over here. Big Mac.
You talk about the truck?
The Big Mac food.
Oh, right.
I know about Juggernauts. Juggernauts, and you got trucks, but I know about the Juggernauts as well. They're slightly different. They've got longer noses. Right? I knew about all the things like that, but she was saying that you can get Big Mac, but they got the Mega Mac. The food, and when you get them food there, he says it's like a big, it's like a whole, fill up the whole plate. So I keep saying back to what you're saying, everything's just much good over there, man. And it's true what you said about the obesity, because you buy a little piece of spinach fruit, I remember them saying as well. And you can get a whole heap of food, man.
Yeah, you can get a lot of food. And even drink. The drink is like drink the size of my house. Like you get a drink this big. Right? So much of what is it? You got it's it could be like soda, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You have this like what else you call it a jar? You got this big container of juice.
Yeah.
Everything is like Lego with it.
What I said, they really liked it, man. They wanted us to come away. I didn't even go for a holiday, man. I don't know why not. I didn't even go. I was doing my own little thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so where they at?
They went to Boston.
Oh, they went to
She
Boston.
came back and then she went back again. Boston. And she said, if you come, the girls would love you. She was saying all that, you know. And I think I was in my Jehovah's Witness thing then. I think I just got in and I was like a monk. My mindset was like monk. I wanted to get away from all the nigger shit. Because I was into some wicked shit. I'm a monk. You know, I cut some of my people them off. You know, I understand a bit more about life. Because when you're young, when you're really, really young, like, especially then, you was more immature. Like the men them now, the men them then, they're younger minded. You understand? So I didn't know nothing about life, really. You know?
Well, you know, that's just what it is, man. It's time progression.
Yeah.
You know, you learn new things.
Yeah.
Especially when you get older, man. You start, like, when you're young, you look at things as a big deal.
Yeah.
And when you get to a certain age, it's like, oh, who's our friend?
Now, I probably would, if I was to go to America, I'd have to have a whole heap of money to feel safe about everything.
Come.
You know what I mean? Because feel safe now. I don't know. That's just me, maybe, when it comes to going overboard, you know?
Well, I mean, all of us, none of us are safe, really.
Yeah.
Really, I'm going to put it to you this way, brother. The only way you're going to be safe is through the law. That's the real safety right there. So I stand correct. I got to correct myself. Yeah, I hear what you're saying now.
Yeah, so we're in
Joel 3.
Joel 3. And
Let me see something real quick. Yeah, it's all right.
try and twist it like up and
But this one?
Yeah. Like leading towards the right. Let me read this quote.
He's trying to be easy, brother.
Not too much. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Right. Joel chapter 3. And
Hey, brother, you can drink that. You drinking water?
no, you know I drink alcohol. That's what I drink. Man. This is a treat.
Oh, it's a treat. Okay. Come.
Rest of the week is water.
Now I'm only looking out for you.
Can't throw out the water. Yeah, I get the headaches and shit. Man.
Yeah. That's what I was getting at.
Like sugar, really.
But you gotta balance it though.
Yeah, you know.
Like you can't. I mean, you can eat anything you want to eat, obviously within the parameter of the law. But as long as you don't constantly indulge in junk, that's all it is.
Right, so we're in Joel chapter 3, and yes, verse 5. No, it's not further than that.
Yeah.
Yes, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears.
Yeah, because once upon a time or another, China, Russia, all of these other countries in the East, they were once poor at one time. And they were more dealing with, the agriculture side of things. So they wouldn't be so as prominent as they were at the time. But now they've become more economically more supreme than the Western world now. And with that being said, they obviously have more money, build more instruments of war to defend yourself, and that's what now they have. So that's what it means to turn your plows, your swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Go on, brother.
It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong.
They were once upon a time, like I've explained, they were weakened economically. Now they become strong. Go on.
Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about.
Right, go on.
Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down. O Lord, let the heathen be wakened.
Yep.
And come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Right, which is in the Middle East. So this is what we all gotta pay. Like it reads in the scriptures that the least of the flock shall draw them out. So the least of the flock is referencing obviously the Israelis. And they're going to draw America into this war. And then obviously you're going to have the least of the flock, which is Iran, that's going to draw Russia into this thing as well. But more in particular, referencing Israel. For America to be exact, wrong, brother.
And it says, yes, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about.
And also, just to add, like we just read in the book of Revelation, the 7th chapter, how you have the angels that are surrounding the Gulf of Euphrates, right? Right? So, again, that just goes to show you where the main war is going to begin. It's going to begin right there in that region. Go on, brother.
And it says, let the heathen be, verse 12, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
Right, and there will I sit to judge the heathen round about. So, like I said, the actual World War III, the third war which coming quickly will begin there and proliferate itself worldwide. It's an expanding. That's how the Lord is going to use the oasis to destroy these other nations. Right along under the time of Esau ruling with the sword. Okay? Go on.
And it says, verse 13, put ye in the sickle for the harvest.
Which actually represents the exact time for great judgment to come. So we're approaching that exact time and hour and moment for the Lord to basically let loose on the face of the earth when it concerns all of the different plagues. And if you can, brother, hold what you got. Give me the book of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, where it talks about the many different plagues. It's before we get out of here. It's gonna be plagues of famine. There's gonna be dissension amongst the people and their government. Disease outbreaks, which we're kind of involved in that right now to a certain level of degree, right? But and I'm now thinking about what's his name, man? Bill Gates.
Oh, yeah.
He stated that there's going to be another pandemic coming, another virus worse than the Omicron virus, which is going to come.
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah, so it's going to be another staged event, which is going to come after this one.
You know what stealth means, isn't it?
Oh yeah, unseen.
So they're saying let your guard down. You don't have to wear the thing now. Over here. You can go on the bus and some people listen, some people don't. Ain't listening, but this thing now is basically to let your guard down.
Oh yeah.
And let stealth come around, and it's gonna people gonna and reaction to the jab, they're gonna blame it on stealth probably.
Yeah.
And you
basically pretty much wait for the opportune time to come, because it's as it says, as we know, that it's like a time ticking bomb. So the people that took the eventually in due time, ones of them may just drop that and may say, look, this is we involved in another variation of a virus. You can do that too. Go on, brother.
So you quote for 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues.
So simultaneously, so when you read that reminds me of 1 Peter 4:7, how the righteous will scarcely be saved. So at the same time, simultaneously, when the missiles are coming down, destroying Egypt is America, part of Egypt is America, and as well as the Lord is going to save us with his mighty. All right? Go on.
Again. Second Ezra 15 verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof.
And will destroy, every single scripture that we put out, especially in the Old Testament, all of you, if you know this, right? The Bible is consistent, because
Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it.
Here we go.
They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting in hell with a fearful constellation.
Right, the missiles. So all of your fruit that the American people were having access to getting will no longer be endured. And actually, I'm going to put it to you this way as well. Right? During the Third World War that happened previously, there were famines, man, that occurred in certain areas in certain countries. So that could also be the case when this world war happens in full effect. You're going to have your famines, you're going to have your rations and all of that stuff. These things will occur in this time. Just because we're in a different age as it seems, we're in the year 2022, and we're so far away from that even happening, don't get it twisted. Because even back then, people thought that like that could never happen to them. But it damn sure happened. All right, and you better believe you me. What people think that outcome is going to come is going to be very scarce. Go on, brother. And the fruit that your government has, they're going to basically gather all of that fruit and give you rations.
Spirit, because I've done a video on it in the week here, where I was on a train. And I was on the way back coming from a particular spot, and this Edomite guy, he's an agent. This Edomite guy came on the train, kind of older dude with a suit and like a M&S green bag in his hand. And then a woman sat down on the train, and she was reading the newspaper. So then he goes out loud, "Why don't you read me the good news?" Like the newspaper, he's playing on the news, right? So then he goes just out loud on the train, "Oh, I'll tell you all the secret. They're gonna ration less than they have."
Wow.
And everybody was just in their phones, not really clocking it, but I clocked it. I was like, "Oh shit." He's like, "Yeah, I'll tell you all the secret. They're gonna ration less than they have."
Wow. But you see, but this is what I'm saying though. See, people are so caught up in their own world that you can just say something that can really, trigger your mind, but they won't be triggered. Because they're on their phones, they're doing as they may. They're in their own little zone. People are in their own zone.
Yes.
Man. Hey, a little small TNT bomb could explode on the train. People still be like on their phone shit. Right?
Yeah.
But you clocked it because obviously you're wide awake.
Yeah.
So the Lord, the Heavenly Father, has the people.
So let's continue on. And it says here, verse 14, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up against to fight another with swords in their hands."
Yeah, so you're going to have seditions among men. You're going to have wars. You may, in some cases, in certain countries, you may have race wars, right? Which, to be honest with you, I remember the Apostle Paul, the Apostle Paul.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times, I checked back my videos and I was saying that, but I said to myself, they'd understand that one. It's a small thing.
That was
Yeah.
You slip, a man slips with his, righteous man slips with his stone, but not with a pot. But what I was saying was, I remember the Apostle Paul was speaking on how it ain't going to be no race wars. But it's going to be riots among the people. So you may have even riots of class or riots of people rising up against the government. But in other words, what this involves is seditions, and I can kind of see that myself as well, to be honest with you, when I read that.
And they showed you that in Black Mirror with the social scoring system. Certain parts of society looked at each other differently.
Yes.
Or funny because they weren't of the same social scoring. Which leads back into the tip. We're at the upper echelon, you're the middle class. You can't chill with us, we can't chill with you. So that's the rising up against the classes. So 2 Ezra 15 and 14, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men,
There you go.
and invading one another.
Yep.
They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power."
Yeah, so in other words, they're not going to regard their government. You can clearly see that also. You can see that people have the mindset of being seditious against their government. Government like they used to. They kind of trust them to a certain degree. They ain't got no trust. But when you really look in more in depth of the people don't really agree with everything that their government says like they used to back in the day. Like at one time, people were in tandem with their government. Now it's a different world we live in. That's quite contrary. Go on, brother.
"A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able."
Yeah, that's martial law. Go on.
And it says, "For because of the pride of the cities shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid."
Yeah, because in the hour of an emergency, which we're approaching, you're gonna have certain parts of where you're at. Your city is gonna be locked out. So you won't be able to go to, let's just say you're in South London, you can only but go within the parameters of being in South London. For example, now remember during the times we was under the COVID conditions, we can only but go out for a certain amount of minutes, and we couldn't venture off. Like I remember there was this article that I was reading just briefly. They found this man venturing off just out of nowhere, and he got penalized for that. So that was under the COVID conditions. So they're gonna bring that thing. They're gonna bring the they're gonna bring those laws back where you can't travel because it's not gonna be no law. It's just gonna be you're gonna have certain cities that they're gonna just shut off from you. So like I said, if you're in South London, your ass is gonna stay in South London. You're in North London, your ass is gonna stay in North London. So they're just gonna lock off certain parts of the place that you're dwelling.
Also in the COVID time, the lockdown, they were saying, oh, the government was struggling. So there's two major tunnels that connects north and east to south.
Yes.
The Blackwall Tunnel, which I use a lot, and the Rotherhithe Tunnel. And they were saying to use the Blackwall Tunnel, they're gonna start charging. They were saying, look man, we might just do something here. We just keep the bridge open. So you can't cross over.
You can't cross over.
And
So they're just gonna keep it like this.
Like that. So you drive into the sea. You know?
Yeah.
And the other bridges, they have flood barriers. And what they were saying, they'll put up the flood barriers so people can't cross. So what the elders saying is true, man. If you're in South London, stay there, man.
Yeah.
That time is coming.
You're not gonna be an adventure off. Like I used to always go to Scoutsland, just for the sake of my work. But it ain't gonna be like that. It's not gonna be a free fall. I could go up here and go down here. No, they're gonna shut shit down because the place that we're involved in, to be exact, London City, not London City, but because City of London is a different entity. But where we're at in London.
And then, on top of that, the TfL is struggling financially.
Right.
They're running a reduced service now. And then on top of that, you've got the new thing they want to bring on the roads for drivers. They're charging you for every mile you drive.
What?
So
you know that?
Yeah, so they've got the fuel emission. Now they want to start introducing charging you by the mile. So that's going to put people off driving. TfL struggling, you can't get on the public transport. So wait, how do you move about then?
You can't be mobile because really, when you think about it, if they're gonna do it like that, then how can you go from A to B? And what that's gonna do, that's gonna stop traffic. Because traffic means business. What is it? Collapse the economy. That's another way you can collapse the economy. So they set this thing up, but going back to the scriptures is actually speaking, man. It's in certain things that we're reading about, like it says in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2, that the vision is yet for an appointed time, and yet it shall speak and not lie. So the visions are actually being opened and shown in the physical world, and there's some of them that we don't see, or should I say, there's a reason why the prophecies that we don't see that are about to come out of the book and be shown in the physical world.
So I'll read that verse again, because we just, 2 Ezra 15 and 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of the pride of the cities, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Yeah, and the greater the cities are, the more crowded they are, the more under severe, how should I put this, man? Under severe crises they're going to be under. Which the term crises goes back to the word, I think it's judgment or something like that. So that's what's coming, man. It's not going to be the way that it is right now. People being able to go from A to B and everything's preloaded. No, it's not going to be like that. We're going to come into a time of emergency, especially during the time of
Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor.
And it don't even got to be war. It could even be by an outbreak of a virus. The ones coming next. And what they could do down here in the UK, it's called the Blair's Act law. And in that law, if I could remember, as it says within that, they can actually bring the UK to a state of emergency off the 7/7 bombs, right? And they can also use that law, they can activate that because of an outbreak of a virus. Just like when you watch this film that I watched years ago, and it was starring Matt Damon. It's called Contagion. And in that film, they showed you that they showed you how they was locking off. The government was able to use the idea. Now they may be watching it in a sense of thinking, it's just a film, no big deal. But really, the film that you're watching is entering to you subliminally. giving you some sort of an idea that maybe that this thing
no pity on his neighbor, but shall
the family as well. And don't get it twisted. Don't think because we're in a year that we're involved in right now, we're in a highly technological age, that the plague of famine can't happen. It's going to happen. Trust me. All right? Go on, bro.
and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation.
Yep.
Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth
Yeah.
to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun from the south, from the east, from Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another,
Yes.
and repay the things that they have done to them.
Right, and how is the Lord going to do that? By, let's read that again. Brother.
2 Ezra 15 verse 20, Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings
Yep.
of the earth together to reverence me.
So how are all of these kings going to reverence the Lord? Because the Lord is going to allow these nations to execute their own judgment. That's how the Lord is going to be in his name. And then you know what, too, when all of this stuff is happening, people are going to result into thinking that there's a higher power. Especially the people that remain alive after this post-nuclear war. They're going to be thinking to themselves, oh shit, there is a God. Because a lot of people don't respect that there's a heavenly Father. And I use the term respect because the word respect means to look back. So people are not thoughtful or acknowledging the Father. We're the only ones that do in totality. Now you got people walking around that believe that there's a high power, but they're not complete tampering with the higher power like that. But they will acknowledge the higher power due to the different many severe plagues, which will be catastrophic indeed, which will hit the earth. All right, and that's how people are going to be reminded of the higher power himself, that he ought to be revered and feared. Go on, brother.
And it says, from the south, from the east, from Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another,
Yeah.
and repay the things that they have done to
Yeah,
them.
that's these nations rising up against one another. That's what that didn't tell me. Go on.
Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense is their bosom,
Which
thus
reminds
saith
me
the Lord power.
Which reminds me of Joel, the 3rd chapter, as we just read, for the controversy of Zion, where the Lord punished the evil. That's why he was sent in the valley of Jehoshaphat, and there would be all punished the way that it is. But it's been problematic down there for the past 15 years. So that ain't really nothing to be concerned about. It's just that the media has gotten paying attention to it, like it's a big goddamn deal, but it's not. Go on, bro.
And it says, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not seize over them that consume the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled.
Come on, go on.
Woe to them that sin, and keep not my commandments, saith the
Now,
Lord.
this is gauging at our people, because they're under the law. Like it reads in the Old Testament, when Moses Sinai, he went to go get them laws and to get other things. Well, that's why you have the books of the 5 books of Moses, of the visions that he received in Mount Sinai, and the things that the Lord has delivered unto him, and as well as the law given unto the children of Israel. So when Moses got done dealing with the Lord on Mount Sinai, right? Then he went back towards his people. Okay, and showed them the way that this is what you gotta be doing, keeping these commandments. So the commandments were given unto the house of Israel to keep. And therefore, when you look up the word sin means the transgression of the law. So our people are the only nation that can sin. All right, now these other nations, they're going to be governed by the law when we rule over them. But we're the people that's supposed to uphold the laws, pretty much. So the sinners of the Lord's people are the nation of Israel, which will be condemned first. All right, as it reads in the book of 1 Peter 4:17, how the Lord will begin at his sanctuary, at his house. Go on.
And it says, I will not spare them, go your way against him.
For the Lord knoweth all of them that sin against him. So if you can, brother, stop there and give me the book of Proverbs 1, verse 26 and 27. It
This is the book of Proverbs chapter 1, verse 26. And it says, I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me.
Yeah,
For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord.
right, and that's key. It's the fear of the Lord. They didn't choose the fear of the Lord. They didn't acknowledge what the Lord was all about. Because the men of the Lord are already out showing themselves. Therefore, the Lord is showing himself through the men of the Lord. And, you know, as usual, man, our people, they don't consider. They just don't consider the ways of righteousness through the men of the Lord. Right? And as it is written in the book of, 1 Samuel 9, that tells you that once upon a time, we had, as the prophets, we've always had them to be representatives of the Most High. So when they came to deliver the message, that was for the people to hear and to hearken and to acknowledge the Creator. All right? But our people, like I said, they don't acknowledge the Creator. And I also want to focus on just briefly the ones self-willed and therefore bringing forth false doctrine, being a false prophet at the end. So what's going to be the end result of a false prophet? That he's going to be put to death. Deuteronomy 13 that tells you that. Right? So they're also the sinners of the Lord's people too. And they're going to be dealt with because they chose not to fear the Lord also. So we have the 2/3 of all people that walk pastors and also have prophets, false prophets.
No, about Nathaniel. From what I've been hearing about,
What's up with it?
from the elder, he's back now. He wasn't well, innit?
Okay.
But I heard from the elder Tahar, he's back, and he was saying to him, "You're back now. Don't you must include the name of Jehovah. Use the name of Jehovah." I know, because I know you've done videos on him in the past. I just wanted to know
No, that's all right.
if you heard anything about
No,
him.
I didn't hear anything about it.
Because he's back in the, because his face was out of the camera for a little while because he wasn't doing too well. But I haven't heard no brothers, you know, apart from Elder Apostle Tahar, saying he's back. So he must see something, he must know something, you know. But I haven't seen him yet, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, I did hear about that too because I watched the live show that he did.
Yeah.
He brought that back to memory. But yeah, I mean, you know, to really be honest with you, man, I really hope that Nate gets his act together. Because at the end of the day, man, like, you know, a lot of the times, you know, we rebuke guys and we tell guys, look, man, you're going to be destroyed. But in our reality, man, just like the Lord don't want to destroy his people. And we don't want to see the ones of our people get destroyed like that. But, you know, we just bring it out so that the fear is upheld and excuse me, the fear of the Lord is upheld.
And the scriptures say, rebuke with long suffering. So, like, you know, when you curse people out, it's not like because you hate them, you know, it's just because, you know, you want them to come back to the truth, man. Yeah. The scriptures speak about instilling that godly fear.
There you go.
So that happens, you know, by keeping Christ out. And then also, the apostles told us as well, you know, back in the day, Nate had that dream that he lost the spirit.
Yes.
But then it came back to him near the end.
The oil.
The oil.
Yeah.
You know, so Lord willing, man, you know, to come all the way home, man. He's teaching Israel, which is a beautiful thing, but you know, you need to come back to the 100% truth.
That's all you gotta do. And hopefully the Spirit of the Lord will guide him and wake him up, because Nate needs to stop it, man. Stop with that pride, Nate. Get it together, bro.
Yeah.
If he's watching the video. You know? But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord.
Right, and they chose not to fear the Lord. Once again, that's key to the point. It's the fear of the Lord. They don't fear the Lord. And because of that, that's going to lead to their own destruction. Like I said, you got the ones about people that know we're around, that see us out and about, you know, real life, in the virtual world, but they don't want to consider, man, like the Most High compared Israel to a dumb ass, man. An ox know of his master, but what is it? How does it go?
But my people do not know.
My people do not know. So people are much more dumber than these dumb animals. They don't recognize their father. There it is, their father's presenting himself to them through the men he sent, and they don't recognize his father.
I got that one, you know.
You go
From Isaiah chapter 1, because on the way down there today, you start to see, you know, when you're in the spirit and you start, most opened up your mind to things. But I'm going to read it because I'll just read it first. Isaiah chapter 1 and 3 says, the ox knoweth his owner and the ass his master's crib, but Israel doth not know my people do not consider. Right now 5, why should 4, yeah, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord, they have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away, backward, last one. Why should ye be stricken anymore? Ye will will revolt more and more. Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart is faint. On the way up, because on the way up here I saw this guy, man. And you know, sometimes the most I could let you see a person, and it's like you could see that he had a fucked up life. He was a Jake, man. You could see he had a fucked up life, and I wasn't feeling like, I wasn't angry with him. I just felt kind of sorry for the guy, man. He was walking up to people and he was going, don't get money and all that. And I just felt sorry for the guy. And I said,
he looked like he needed help.
He looked like he needed help, but you could see he looked like he could have been fucking molested or something, man. You know, like some Jakes get molested when they put on foster's home and all that, and I just felt fucking our people. I was embarrassed for the guy. We got up to Edomites, money. I fucking felt bad, man. I want to, people like that, there's certain people in that need to be killed, but there's certain people that need to be healed among our people. Among our people, there's certain people that need to be euthanized, but some of us need to be healed. Because it says there, yeah, why should you be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, the whole heart is faint. Israel's sick, man. Some of us ain't all bad, you know what I'm saying? You got sick among us that need to be healed, man. And that's what Yahushua, when he was on the earth, he was healing. He was rebuking the Pharisees, but he was healing a lot of the sincere sick people. And even if there wasn't sincere, some of them he still healed them, and he said, don't go and talk about it. You know, because he was a physician as well, wasn't he? You know?
I mean, you know, Jake is in a bad situation, a really, really bad situation. Ultimately, really, to be honest with you, the Lord really blinded our eyes to where they can't see him in our eyes. The truth that we're bringing out there, because, you know, the Lord ain't really concerned with the multitude of his people anyway. It's all about gathering the prophets together and building on the house of David. And once the house of David is built, then the other Israelites will come through and be established correctly in us. You know?
Isaiah 6 and 9. Isaiah chapter 6 verse 9, and he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed.
Yeah. So I mean, that scripture right there tells you that the Lord is in charge of opening up the eyes of not by using certain angels. So the reason why people can't get it is the Lord didn't open their eyes. That's the bottom line, man. He's only concerned with the elect of his people. He only needs 144,000 plus the 1/3 to reestablish the house of David. That's all he pretty much need. He don't need, like Benjamin said, all he put Israelites. You know? Yeah. Said it right there. You know, so he don't need all of that, man. He just needs the very few that's there to him, and all is well. So that's all we need, man.
Let me read. I was gonna quote it, but let me pull it. Because it's right what you're saying. Right. Yes, this is Ezekiel 11 and 16. And it says, therefore say, thus saith the Lord, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary.
Right, but yet I will be to them as a little sanctuary. Exactly, man. It's like when you look at the camps, most of the camps around the world, great Muslim camps, most of us is quite small. Right, you may have a camp of brothers that may be, you may have a maximum, maybe like 12 men, but that's a small sanctuary. Or you may have a 7-brother camp, small sanctuary.
8-brother camp.
Small sanctuary. Or you got guys in, like for example, you got the Chicago camp. That's a big camp. But guess what? Them brothers, they split the camp up. But when you really look at it, it's a bunch of small sanctuaries set up. But again, that's the only group of men that the Lord really needs in these last days to give the correct message. Go on, brother.
Yeah, I mean, that was yeah. So, Bruce, we was in Isaiah 6, right?
No, go back to Joel.
Okay. So,
yeah, I've never seen that kind of thing.
Right. We're in
So-
Joel 3 and yes, verse 11. And it says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And it says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, for the press is full.
You know, that reminds me of the camp, brother. Give me Revelation 14. I think it's in verse, maybe it's in the last couple of verses. I think it's 21 to 23, if I'm correct. There is a 23.
Revelation 14. Oh yeah, Revelation 14 and 19. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and press of the wrath of the Most High. Out the city, the blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles by the space of 1,000.
The grapes are fully ripe. King is going to be on the ready. Because, like in the ancient world, and even since yet this very day, how do you make wine? Put it in the wine press.
I've got the precept for that.
Go on, brother. Oh yeah, I know you. I think I know you're going.
Yeah.
You're going with I think it's Isaiah 63, right?
Yep.
The wine press.
That's it, come. Isaiah 63 and 3. And it says, I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury or my
Yeah,
rage.
so Yahweh Shah, basically, he's going to be the wine presser. In other words, he's going to be the one that's going to be destroying people with the Malaysians when he comes back. And we can't forget even the coming of Yahweh Shah, because we're so focused on, with the world war, which we're in the right to be so, because you got this Ukrainian thing that's being brought out in the media, which this is something that's been going on for 15 years anyway, but in the midst of this ongoing war, man, and if it does happen, and when it does happen, the angels and as well as Yahweh Shah are going to invade this physical planet, and as the last few and talking about that. The word alien means strange, so yeah, it's going to be strange, the incoming of the Lord, but that's what everybody's going to experience and see. Go on, man.
Right. So back in Joel, right? Yeah. Joel 3 and 13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full.
Right, for the press is full. In other words, it's ready for that particular moment in time for judgment to come. Go on.
The fat overflow, for their wickedness is great.
Right, for their wickedness is great. So once the wickedness of Esau, and as well as all of the people around the earth, reaches to its apex level, then the Lord is going to exact vengeance, judgments on the face of the earth for the wrongs. Go on.
And it says, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision.
You're looking how good you are. Go on now.
Verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision, Yes. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision.
Right, in the valley of decision. And why does it say that? Because the Lord, as we just read, the Lord is going to plead with all of these people. He's going to punish all of the military powers that they're all going to be gathered together in their own position, as the Lord is doing that right now. And as we were speaking about earlier before, about how fuck Joe Biden, he understands that Vladimir Putin has a bigger goal in mind. And what is the bigger goal in mind? It's to reformulate the Soviet Union, that which was lost at one time. That's what this whole thing is about. And like I said, the reason why the allies are down there of America, they don't be exact, because they wanna prevent that from happening.
And it says, verse 15, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
The reason why the stars are going to withdraw, because all of that nuclear smoke is going to proliferate throughout the air, therefore creating this dark atmosphere. Going up.
The Lord also shall roar out of Zion. Ooh. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of another scripture too, where the Lord said he will cry as a travailing woman.
Yeah.
You see, so that's going to be a sight to behold. So, and this is why you can actually understand what I think Jeremiah was saying about how the salvation of Israel is going to far surpass the salvation of Israel in ancient Egypt.
It shall no more be
That it won't be comparable
to his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people,
Yes.
and the strength of the children of Israel.
and the strength of the children of Israel. So that, even that scripture alone tells you, man, that the Lord is not going to be the God of all, but he's only going to showcase that he is the God and the hope of one people, and the elect to be exact, the nation of Israel. So the earth is going to be quaking, right? And when the earth quakes, what's going to happen? Those tectonic plates are going to be shifting. And when the tectonic plates are shifting, that creates tornadoes and stuff like that. So it's going to be a whole lot of drama happening on the face of the earth, like we've seen before. That's why Daniel told you, as you read the book of Daniel, the 12th chapter, it reads that we're going to come into the times as there is a nation. Right? Which will also take a book.
It also says the earth shall reel to and fro like a trumpet.
Yep.
It's from all that impact.
Right. And the missiles.
Yeah. So continuing on, it says, let me read verse 16 again. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people.
But the Lord will be the hope of his people.
And the strength of the children of Israel. So shall he know that I am the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, your power dwelling in Zion.
And the Lord is going to make it very clear once again that he is the higher power that created all of this existence, and that all of that is to be said that he's going to showcase that he is the God and only the God of Abraham, Isaac, and his people Israel that he gave the covenant to. Go on, brother.
And it says, my whole is passed through her anymore.
Exactly. That's why it also says in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, where it says, another nation will not come in the midst thereof in our kingdom. So the Lord's already, even just by now, as it stands, the Lord has set up an holy army and holiness out there teaching and dwelling with one another in unity. These are going to be the same men that are going to set up the kingdom of heaven, right along with Yahweh Shah. And also, can't forget King David, as he believed him to be King Marshall. He's going to come back and he's going to basically be placed on his throne, the undying throne. Okay?
And it says in verse 18, and it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and the fountain shall come forth out of the house of the Lord.
And it's like these ridiculous, wacky, tacky Christians say, man, how, oh yeah, heaven is going to be in the sky somewhere, but it says that we should have milk and honey. So where do you get milk and your honey from? Down here on the earth, man. Where a cow is located is what? It's a cow located in the sky, floating around. Come on, man.
Angelic cows.
And the bees.
And the bees can't fly into the sky, brother. Yeah. Come on, man.
And it says, and it says, waters.
Yeah, so that means we're going to be abundant. So this is what's coming next. After this, we have a mighty, great inheritance coming our way that we can't even comprehend or understand economy. That's what we're waiting for, man. That's why we come out and it shows that we're about this thing, man. You know? Go on, bro.
Perseverance.
It shows perseverance.
And if I can just say, there's a very quick there's a saying, old saying, nothing good, anything good is worth waiting for. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
as you say, it must be good, man. It must be good.
Brilliant, yeah.
In my father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you.
Yeah.
You know, I'd go to prepare a place for you, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
It's going to be out of this world. Oh, man, it's going to be great. It's going to be good stuff. Go on,
That's
brother.
right. Continuing on, and it says, and a fountain shall come forth and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness.
So our empire
earnestly?
is going to
Yeah,
be
burn it.
abundant and growing, right? And as well as their empire is going to be to desolation, and theirs, the people are going to be to desolation. You see how we're having this system, right? Had an division with no economic power. We're going to make sure Israel has no economic power whatsoever. They're not going to even own their own land. We're going to possess their land. It says, they that of the south shall possess the borders of Edom. The remnant of Edom, to be exact, as it says in Amos, the 9th chapter. Now, when you look up that word,
Smells nice.
when you look up that word, I think it's the word remnant or Edom. It's gonna direct you to the landmass. So we're gonna possess the land of Edom. So the border of Judah is gonna expand because they're just gonna be a bunch of slaves anyway. So there's not gonna be no need for them to be situated in owning land. As a matter of fact, what did Ezra say? Ezra said that we have an inheritance with the world. So this whole entire earth is gonna be ours, which will include all of the resources and also the manpower.
Just like in slavery, right? They would teach the slaves that, oh, your way to get to heaven, you were made to be a slave,
Right.
and your way to get to heaven is to serve your masters, man.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to teach them the same thing, man. Just that there is no salvation for you, man. Your
Right.
whole existence was to basically the Lord playing you, man.
Yep.
You know, and now that you've done your job, you know, being the whipping stick, the whip of the Lord to get his children in line, now you got to pay the punishment and get exterminated, man.
That's it. That's right, brother. You know, that's in the book of Obadiah 1, verse 18. They're going to be Obadiah, man. So the best thing to be, man, I would say this, man, to you guys out there that look like Edomites, you better hope like hell that you're not an Edomite. As if you are an Edomite, your ass is going to be out and done for.
And that's the spirit, because Obadiah, Ibadiah, means servant of the Most High.
Hey.
And
Exactly, the high powers living in those plush neighborhoods, living out on the countryside, they're going to be gathered to be our servants, and they're going to have to drink that cup.
right.
And that's the curses, baby boy. Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. All of the curses that came upon us will be translated unto them, and much more greater. Go on, brother.
Right. And it says, verse 19, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness.
Right, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. So why does it make mention of Egypt? Why does it make mention of Egypt and also Edom? Because the Egypt is referring to in the scripture in this case is America, which is the modern day Egypt for the children of Israel. And this particular Egypt was bitter for us. Egypt is called America, named after an Italian navigator, Medico, which I believe is in the Latin, I believe, which means to be bitter. So our punishment was bitter. Serving captivity under the so-called white man, and as well as down here in the UK as well, which is also a part of Babylon. But you know, England is not a part of Babylon. I'm just speaking in the spirit, because Esau is ruling under the vibration of Babylon. That's what I meant to say. Go on.
So it says, for the violence against the children of Judah, the shed innocent blood in their land.
Because they have shed innocent blood in their land, like they've built and slaughtered the Native American Indians. They had their portion of land, and they killed millions of them. And the very few of them put them in places called reservations. In other words, the corners.
It says, but Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation.
Right.
For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion.
In other words, the Lord is going to do away with our sins. So we're going to be made afresh again. We're going to be made new. Like what did Yahweh Shah say in the book of Revelations 22, I believe it is?
Behold, I make
All things new. So what is the new what does he mean by like making things new? Meaning he's going to refresh things. There you go. From the Greek word kainos. Like you have the new moon. Now let's actually be that there's another moon is coming. No. It just means the moon is going to turn all over again. Alright? Like for example, you have the moon cycles.
The word there in Hebrew for the moon is Kadash.
Right, Kadash.
New cycle.
Yep.
New moon.
Yep.
Like the Lord don't create a whole new planet for a moon every month.
No, it don't work like that.
So that was the end of Jeremiah. So that was the end of that chapter.
Yeah, so what else we can? I can also get you to get there's another article. Yeah, so okay, we got done reading. We read Zephaniah, read Jeremiah. We didn't go into Ezekiel here. But being that we spoke, we just got done with Joel, right?
Yes, on Joel. Then we finished Jeremiah 50 as well.
Okay, come. Yeah, so with that being said, because Joel, Ukraine, like World War III ain't going to begin out of Ukraine. It's going to begin within the region, within the eastern world. So now what I want the brothers to get into is what we're going to get into is this article over here. Yeah, you can, brother. Read this.
Right. So this is from the Jerusalem Post, and it says, the title is How War in Ukraine Increases Iran's Threat to Israel, and an analysis. It says, there is a chance that the war in the US in and focus on Ukraine could lead to Iran believe it can exploit this chaotic time to encourage its proxies to attack Israel. Reports on Thursday morning showed Russian attacks across Ukraine, including against key airports and military sites. Air raids, sirens were heard in the western Ukraine and in Lviv, where some countries, including Israel, have relocated their embassies. The message that Russia's unprovoked attack has for the world is clear. Other countries can do the same.
Yeah, because when you think about it, being that Russia did what they did, and there's a reason why they did what they did, right? As I've expounded upon earlier before. But you know, in this case, he has a point because obviously Iran is allied with Russia, so this can heighten the confidence of Iran to do just like what Russia did to Ukraine. Because really, what was done by the Russians going into Ukraine the way that they did, it showed that America was weak, and Israel depends on America's might. All right, so basically, with that being said, Iran can actually just do basically damage to Israel, because Israel's pretty much poking up their chest. Israel as such, to a certain degree. That's what this article is going into, which, you know, the article has a point going on.
And it says, in the Middle East, Iran understands that the Russian operation gives it a blank check. Continues, Jerusalem has always behaved as if it will have to face Iran alone. But the conflict in Ukraine is yet another message for the Middle East.
Right.
And it goes on to say, while Iran tensions have gone on for decades, the question is whether the Russian war in Ukraine will open a Pandora box of similar invasions and wars.
Right.
There is a chance that the war in Ukraine and the US focus on it could lead Iran to believe it can exploit this chaotic time to encourage its proxies to attack Israel.
Yeah, the fear. That's the absolute fear, is that they can set up proxy wars down there and do what they got to do and demolishing Israel. You see, because Israel, they're obviously they're afraid of losing their power, which is more important to them than anything else, of the Middle East. and then they don't want to be troubled either, of course. So, but like I said, what Russia showed is that the ally of Israel is weak, which is America. And focusing on Israel and Iran, like the scripture says, as I was spoken earlier before, on how the beast of the flock were drawn them out. And also we was reading the book of Joel, and also in the book of Revelation 16:12, it says that the Euphrates River was dried up so that the kings of the east might be prepared. So when you read the scriptures is actually letting you know the deal, how this war is going to erupt and where it's going to erupt from. And it's going to erupt in the Middle East. Okay, so we need to be paying more attention to what's going on in the Middle East and rather than what they're telling us to pay attention to, which is Ukraine. Again, saying that the whole time, something, a war which has been kind of, ain't really no war, but it's just an issue that's been going on for what is it, 5 years on. All right? That's all that is. And it's really, at the same time, Russia trying to get back Ukraine as an ally, and as well as them other countries that are surrounding within Russia, bringing them all back together, and re-emerging the Soviet Union going on.
And it says Hezbollah has been threatening Israel and increasingly stockpiling missiles and drones. Tehran could benefit from the Ukraine crisis by either getting a reduction in nuclear sanctions or empowering its proxies. To understand Iran's current posture is to understand that in many ways, Iran's attacks on countries in the region foreshadow Russia's aggression.
Societies which are entangled with America as well, right? So they're afraid of even them being attacked. And by the way, the main sheiks in Saudi Arabia, they're nothing but Amalekites, man. They're nothing but Amalekites. They're not the people of Ishmael. They're the Amalekites, the so-called Jews, basically. We go into the history going, brother.
And it says Iran openly moves drones and ballistic missiles across borders in the Middle East. This week, Israel alleged that the Islamic Republic was providing drone technology to Venezuela. Iran has armed
read that again about Venezuela.
I was thinking, oh shit, how did they get it?
Yeah.
Right. Iran openly moves drones and ballistic missiles across borders in the Middle East.
Right.
This week, Israel alleged that the Islamic Republic was providing drones. I'll read it again. Iran openly moves drones and ballistic missiles across borders in the Middle East. This week, Israel alleged that the Islamic Republic was providing drone technology to Venezuela.
I have to look into that. I didn't know if they were actually doing that or not. Maybe they are doing it, but I'm going to look into that. But if they are doing that, what that entails is that they're moving their units pretty much at the backyard of America, basically. And as well as I found out, I was reading an article about how Russia, they're also pretty much positioning their military, I believe it is. I'm going to have to go back and read it. The nations up there. Right? So all of these nations are positioning themselves together in America. And that's why America, Russia, all right? Tit for tat, tat for tit situation. Why do people always walk around it?
That's the
The same woman, she's apparently one of the governors of this garden.
Okay.
And she had a problem with us speaking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she kept earlier trying to say, do we have permission from the government to be
She's
here?
vexed.
So that's just,
She's
that's
vexed.
just
She's strutting her stuff now.
Right.
She said, oh, I'm going to go find out. We had undercover police here.
Yeah.
They didn't say nothing.
Then they're saying it, yeah.
About some governor of some garden.
Okay, thanks for informing us, brother, about that. Thank you.
Yeah, but though, with that being said, that's just her being, because she feels violated that way. How is it that these niggas are standing right here? These blacks are standing right here. That's what that's all about. How are these Lord peasants standing in our parks?
Continuing on with the article here, it says Iran has armed the Houthis in Yemen and sent advisors to encourage their war against Saudi Arabia. It has also empowered the Iraqi militias, such as the Qaeda and the Hezbollah, which has carried out attacks against Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, alongside its militia partners in Iraq. In Syria, Iran backs the Assad regime. It has moved proxies and terror groups into areas near Golan. It has also moved drone threats to Syria to strike at Israel. This results in attack against the Jewish state in February 2018 and in May, when drones entered the Israeli airspace, as well as an incident in August 2019.
See, they're moving, man. They're moving their yard. They're doing the same thing as well. Because the thing with the Israelis, they're acting as though they're going to do something to Iran. So Iran has to feel, the sense to defend themselves. You see? And they're going all around. But this is bringing more confidence to the Iranians that they can do as they may. Because look, we just made America look like they're a bunch of weaklings. You see? You know, they knocked down Ukraine with it. They just moved in it. You know, so yeah, I mean that's just pretty much the deal on that, brother, right there. Yeah, that's it on that. If there's some more meat on that, if you see some more meat on that bone.
No, it's pretty much just they're just playing chess, moving their equipment around, talking about some policies. Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like we was talking about in the book of Joel and other places, the Lord is just gathering these nations in a particular position. That's what's going on right now. Once these nations are gathered in a particular situation, in a particular place, then pretty done set in order.
I just want to check if I actually finished. I know we finished Joel. Did we finish Isaiah?
You mean Jeremiah?
Or it was Jeremiah 50?
You didn't have to actually finish that because I was going to go into something else.
Okay, yeah, we're done.
No, yeah, so yeah, I got something else I want you to. Yeah, give me Ezekiel 38.
Right, this is Ezekiel chapter 38 and 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
And these were all territories of the dark, which know happened, and they are there today. It was all islands, as I've explained earlier before. The places such as Tahiti. So they were dwelling in which is called Gog and Magog at the time. No, you're not going to stop that, because according to Bible prophecy,
Verse 4, and I will turn thee back jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses.
Pretty much like I said, they're in tandem with NATO. And NATO don't like what's going on with which is what Russia did. Right? Since the Iranian president understood. Because the Iranian president, he even said, well, you know, I don't really agree with Russia's move, but it was a provocation by the Americans. All right? Go on.
Right, and it says, besides Erdogan's phone call with the Ukrainian president Volodymyr Zelensky, in which he assured the besieged leader of his support, Ukraine's ambassador Ankara urged the Erdogan government to keep Russian vessels out of Turkish waters.
And brother, if you want to elaborate on that, that's all right, man. You feel like you
Reported in recent weeks, Turkish officials have reiterated the government adherence to the 1936 Montreal Convention in what was seen as an effort to assuage Russia, which sees the pact as a way to limit the number of NATO warships in the Black Sea and the duration of the time they spend it.
Yeah, so the thing with Turkey, the way it sounds to me, Turkey don't really want much of any problems, man. But regardless of what, if I'm correct, brother, again, they're caught in the middle. But regardless of whether they want problems or not, they're gonna have to get in. They're gonna have to get in where they fit in, man. It's either they're gonna be leading up with America and NATO, or they're gonna be getting involved with their real ally, which is Ukraine and Russia. And we know, according to Bible prophecy, that will be the case. Now let's go and read what Bible prophecy has to say to us. In the book of Ezekiel 38.
So we're in Ezekiel chapter 38, and right, verse 6, and it says, God and all his bands, the house of Togama, of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself.
Right, and be thou prepared, prepare for thyself. Again, back in the day, back from during the time of the Obama administration, the Russians, man, they were sending them S-400s, and as well as even the Turkish, they were doing the same thing, as we just read to you in what Turkey was saying. All right, so they've been helping each other out, and as the man just even pretty much spoke on them now, they have a lot of military kind of thing now. So they're definitely on the ready. They've been on the ready.
Right, and it says, verse 7, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
Right, and be thou a guard unto them, as I've explained. Now, I want you to read something else. So let's read this, because you read about Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya. They're even going to invade the Israelis, the Russians. They're going to invade the Israelis. All right, because you got to think about it. Russia is going to become real cruel, and they're going to just start laying. They're going to just start laying motherfuckers out, like with the missiles, man. They're going to come with their aircrafts, and they're going to take over certain regions of the world. And as Ezekiel 38 specifies, they're gonna come over Israel, and America's going to have to get after them. But they won't be able to overcome them because, again, their allies are going to forsake them, and as well as the Chinese are going to be right along with their destruction. So it's already set up for America to be destroyed. Go on, brother.
Right, I'll read verse 8 again. And it says, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of my people.
Because the land of Israel, the land of Israel is going to return back to what it was after the nuclear destruction. That's what that means, that it's the land being brought back. So, go on.
And it's, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them.
Yeah. So really, what Ezekiel was saying is because I remember Al-Azhar was breaking this down. He went totally off on this. What this is going on, what this is going in, is the Russians invading Israel, and then once Israel is decimated, the land of Israel is decimated, then we're going to return back to the land and rebuild the desolate places, and we're going to go to safety. So, but the way he was breaking it down in the sense of saying that, oh, we're going to be in the land, but then it's going to be World War III. No.
Come on, man. The scripture says they shall learn war no more.
Exactly.
How the hell we going to be in the kingdom and war's going on?
That don't make no damn sense. It makes no sense.
Priest.
Right. As he coins himself. Go on,
That's
brother.
crazy. Verse 9, and it says, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm.
Yeah.
Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land.
Yeah.
Thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee.
Yes, all of them are going to invade the land of Israel, basically. And another scripture comes to my mind, because see, he was wrong in breaking that down. Because in the book of Isaiah 60, it says that no violence will be heard in thy cities. So how would that prophecy be activated if that was the case? So he broke that down totally wrong, man. Go on, brother.
And it says in verse 10, into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought,
Yep.
and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land unwalled villages.
You know what that involves? They're going to invade America now. The unwalled villages, because America, they're not in the defense state. They don't have the defenses prepared up for Russia. So read that verse again.
Verse 12, Ezekiel 38 and 12, and it says to take a spoil and to take a prey.
Read verse 11.
Verse 11, and it says, thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of the unwalled villages, and I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely.
Yeah, and that's those Babylonians. You heard it. They're dwelling safely without a care in the world. And it's like the Apostle always said it. He said, based on that scripture and based on what the said, it all lines up with them being the unwalled villages, and America being the undefended.
saying, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest and dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither neighbor and having neither bars nor gates,
Right.
to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited,
Right.
and upon the people that are gathered out of the nation.
Yeah, in other words, the land of Israel, because the land of Israel was a land which was, as it reads, that was always waste. And how is it waste now? Because the wrong people are in the land, evoking all kind of manner of negativity. Their presence alone is unholy, right? And that land is nothing more than the desert, even while they're dwelling there. But when we get to the land, guess what? We're not going to have to get the plants as they've done. What's the called? It's called the kibbutz, where they had to get the plants to beautify the city manually. But when we get there, it's going to be automatic. All right? There's not going to be no need for no damn kibbutz.
Yeah, because we are blessed people. We're going to be, it's going to be, the earth is going to be replenished
Yes.
through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yeshua. Just like anything else we get,
Yeah.
what don't belong to other people,
Yeah.
we put life back into it.
Yes.
The stones, the herbs, and everything else, man. The earth. Yeah.
Even them that, like, as the elder was saying, we promote life, man, and like flourishing with them. Like, we know who we're gonna say it, they'll take it up. We know who we're talking about, right? Because they, I don't live too far from them. Even the way they present themselves, just shoddy, man. That black and white, but it just looks dirty, it looks grimy. Their buildings that they have, we just run down.
It's right.
It's just,
There's no life force in white people.
they don't wear the clothes wears them. Alright, this is back in Ezekiel 38, and I was in verse 11. It says, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest and dwell safely.
Yeah, which is America.
All of them dwelling without walls and having neither barn or gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the names, cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. And it says, Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, spoil?
When you read the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter, it talks about how all of the nations are going to gather their goods together towards us to beautify our city, which is Jerusalem. So what this is going into is that Russia's going to invade these areas, which will become desolate in this particular age of war, which is on the coming. That's what this is talking about. It ain't talking about, oh, he's going to invade these nations while we're in the kingdom. That ain't talking about that. All right? Go on, brother.
And it says in verse 14, therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto God, thus saith the Lord power, in that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it?
Yeah, of course. Everyone's going to know that we're going to be dwelling in the land safely. Everybody's going to know that. And everybody's going to be aware that we're going to be we're going to be the new superpower on the face of the earth. And therefore, there will be no more war. All right? So when he's saying, so what Ezekiel is basically saying, because he's explaining it in a vision. And he's trying to comprehend it in the way that he can understand it. So the thing with the Russians, they're going to invade the land of Israel, the same land which will be beautified, which will be beautified by these other nations, because they're going to give us their resources and their goods. So he's going to go into the land which was waste, which will be brought out of the nations, brought back from the sword. In other words, through the destruction, that's how Jerusalem is going to be brought back, the physical land itself, because after the destruction, we're going to come back from those chariots, and we're going to rebuild back those desolate places. So the desolate places, which Ezekiel was speaking about here, are the places which Russia's going to invade, which will become desolate due to what's going to happen in this nuclear war. All right? Go on.
And it says, verse 15, and thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee,
Right, the Soviet Union, go on.
and all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army.
And as well as we can't forget Turkey, Ethiopia, and Persia, go on.
And it says, and thou shalt come up against my people of Israel.
Right, so this is what I'm saying. You see, so when you read that, you will assume, and that's why he broke it down, that's what that it's actually referring to the Russians coming up against us in the land. It's metaphorical. Again, because the thing with the prophets, when he had the visions, they didn't really thoroughly understand what they were seeing in totality. But you gotta read between the lines and see what it's really saying. What he's basically saying is that they're gonna go against the Israelis. They're gonna invade the Israelis because they're gonna be in a land that we're gonna dwell in. You understand? Go on, brother.
And it says,
So let's read that again, that exact verse again.
verse 15, and it says, and thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee.
That I'm in the midst with thee to destroy them. So our people will not be there at that time. And we're going to be down here getting ready to be beamed up. All right? Go on, brother.
O God, before their eyes. Thus saith the Lord power, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants, the prophets of Israel, who prophesied in those days, many years, that I would bring thee against them, and it shall come to pass that the same time when God shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Lord power.
See, he's breaking it down to you. So when Ezekiel, when it says in the book of Ezekiel 38, you shall come up against my people in Israel, what he's basically saying is that they're going to invade the land of Israel. Gave it away right there. Go on, brother.
And it says,
That's in verse 11, right?
no, verse 18.
Verse 18, okay.
And it shall come to pass that at the same time when God shall come up against the land of Israel, saith the Lord power, that my fury shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy.
And where's the face? Where's the Lord's face at? In the land of Israel. That's what we're going to be put back on the map. Go on.
And it says, for in my jealousy and in my fire of my wrath have I spoken.
Yeah.
Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel.
Right.
So,
like remember, as it reads in the scriptures, we just read it, how the earth was going to be picked. So the Lord's going to use the Russians to basically demonstrate his power with the ways to destroy. And he's going to destroy the land of Israel by invading the Israelis with their atomic missiles and their bombs that they're going to drop. Those airplanes. Go on, brother.
and it says, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and the creeping thing that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence.
Yeah, all of the nations are going to shake, and the creepy crawly things represent all these other nations. So everyone's going to shake due to the dramatic fallout of what's going to occur on the face of the earth, especially the Israelis being destroyed by the Russians as well as the Americans being destroyed by the Russians. All right, so Russia is a like, if you can, brother, hold on with that. We're going to get back to that. I want you to get to Revelations 3. Let's get cold now.
Right, Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sea, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy.
Go on.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were like as the feet of a bear.
Yeah, so why did he stop? Why did he begin to elaborate on the head of this beast as being as the leopard? Because the first empire Edomites were the Greeks. They came into the power seat around after the time of the Medo-Persian Empire fell. So after the Medo-Persian Empire fell, they came into the power seat around, I think it's what, 4 to 3. Now how should I put this? Around the 5th to the 4th century BC. they started coming into power. The 4th century to be exact. Go on, bro.
And the beast which I saw, verse 2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Right, and the mouth, as it says, the mouth of a lion, because Great Britain holds a level of power in this empire as well. Like Britain is like the mouthpiece, and America is more like the influential. All right, the influential one, and as well as the bear, is the Russians, because the bear is going to be responsible in demolishing this system with its feet. All right, and the feet is like the last part of the human body, or any body of a creature. All right, so the Russians are going to be geared, as we're going to go back to Ezekiel 38, the Lord is going to use the Russians to destroy the heads of Esau, all right, the Israelis and as well as those Americans. Going back to Ezekiel 38, bro.
Okay, back to Ezekiel 38. Right. So it was in Ezekiel 38, and I was in verse 20. Right, Ezekiel 38 and 20. So that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth.
Like I broke that down wrong. When he spoke about the creatures, the fowls in the air and the fishes in the sea, that was literal. So all of the life of the living is going to experience the height of the mountain, the highest part, the top of the mountain. So when these politicians come together, they got to be of a higher rank, basically, you know? Go on, brother.
It says, in verse 21, and I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith the Lord power. Every man's sword shall be against his brother.
Yep.
And I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and I will rain upon him, and upon his bands, and upon the many people.
And check this out. The Russians are going to go against their brother, which is the Americans. All right? And as well as, well, that's all I got to say on that regard right there. All right? Go on.
And it says, and I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and I will rain upon him and upon his bands,
Yep.
and upon all the many people that are with him, and overflowing rain, and great hailstone, fire, and brimstone.
Yeah, so I mean, what's going to happen is the Lord is going to use the Russians to destroy certain places, and then certain places are going to be used for the Russians. So at the end deal, what's going to win at the very end? It's us, because after the things of these other nations, we're going to begin to receive the preeminence, and we're going to rule over the nations that remain alive. That's the end all be all right there. All right? That's all I got to really say. Really, I'll allow you to come back in and speak again.
That's pretty much it. We was getting into it.
Good.
Any more precepts?
You might have something else. And if we don't, I'll tell you what.
We've been out, it's just before 2.
Well, you came out around, you started on 2.
Around 1:45.
Okay, well that's actually 5 hours right there. You know what? I'll tell you what. Let me see. Let me read this. Yeah, you know, we can actually stop right now. That's 5 hours right on spot. Yeah. So with that, hopefully, this was edifying to you. This exhorted your spirit. And shalom to y'all that was watching anyway. And Kwame Yashala, man.
Yeah, sure.
All praises to the Most High and His Son,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Mekakudash.
Wa above the bar.
Wa above above.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Once again, Kwame Yashala.
We out, man.
The spirit went well, man. The spirit flowed very well. Even though it's just